At the beginning we see our male leads. Name is Lin Yusun. Lin Yusun is a surgeon, and at this time he was performing a very important surgery. 8 hours had passed and he successfully removed the tumor. It was a perfect surgery. When he came out successfully, he looked very happy. Especially the happiness he felt after seeing the patient's family was something else altogether. Lin Yusun did his work so well that even his seniors were pleased, thinking how lucky they were to have such a good junior. Not only that, becoming a doctor and performing surgeries was his passion, which he had already achieved. After that, he received a call from his cousin, who told him to come because he wanted to introduce him to a girl and asked if he would go on a blind date. Yusun replied that he wasn't interested in all this. But his cousin said that sooner or later he would have to settle down in life, so why not open the doors of his heart? Then he mentioned that the girl was Mr. Ni's daughter. Hearing Mr. Ni's name, Lin Yusun's expression immediately changed. Actually, this girl was our female lead, whose name was Shi Guang. He had seen her many times before, and every time he saw her, he had already fallen in love. After that, there was no reason to refuse. He immediately agreed to the blind date. He was happily traveling to another city when something unfortunate happened. Because of a truck driver's mistake, his car collided and Lin Yusun met with a very terrible accident. After this, the scene shifts and we are shown Shi Guang, who at this time was an undergraduate student at a university. She was a very brilliant student. We also learned that these days she mostly stayed at her uncle's house because her university was quite close to his home in Nanjing. Her cousin also lived there and behaved like her little brother. Although she was supposed to go on a blind date, Shi Guang seemed completely unaware of it. Her cousin said that he had hired a new tutor, who was also from her university. When she opened the door for the new tutor, she discovered that it was Zhuang Shu, the same Zhuang Shu who had been her crush during university life and the top student of the business school. In this way, a year passed and now she was about to graduate with her friends. After spending a few days on vacation in her hometown, Shi Guang returned, and her roommates were waiting outside the hostel to pick her up. Of course, she had brought chicken for them, but she soon realized they weren't there just for the food. Zhuang Shu had given everyone a party, and that's why they had all gathered. She didn't even have time to put her luggage in the hostel because they had to go to the restaurant immediately. According to the plan, if Zhuang Shu got a good job, he was supposed to treat everyone, and he had already secured a job before graduation with a 5-figure salary. Shi Guang felt awkward sitting there, but she still enjoyed hanging out with her friends. Moreover, her 2 roommates were dating 2 of Zhuang Shu's friends. So indirectly they kept meeting often and maintained a close connection. Everyone started talking about their future plans, who would work where, who was preparing for civil service exams. Shi Guang also planned to work at a firm where she had done her internship. She had gotten this job through her father's connections. Her father was a very successful businessman. Everyone envied her, saying she had nothing to worry about regarding her future and could get a job anywhere she wanted. But looking at Shi Guang, it seemed like she wasn't very happy with this job. Later, she met Zhuang Shu alone. He told her that if she wasn't happy with this job, then why was she clinging to her family? Why not try to do something on her own and see if she could get a job by herself? We also learned that among their friends was a roommate named Rong, who was very close to Zhuang Shu. They were childhood friends and neighbors, so everyone believed that in the future she might become his girlfriend. However, until now, neither of them had made any official statement. After the party ended, Shi Guang was returning to her uncle's house when she received a call from her cousin, who was pleading with her about something. She went back to the hostel to collect her belongings. At that moment, her friends also returned, unaware that Shi Guang was in the room. They started telling Rong that she and Zhuang Shu should officially announce their relationship, and that if she had told everyone earlier that they liked each other, Shi Guang wouldn't have had to face such embarrassment. What this embarrassment was would be revealed later. Hearing all this, Shi Guang's mood became very bad, and old memories resurfaced. She had had a crush on Zhuang Shu from the very first day, and it seemed obvious to the entire department. Even her cousin knew she liked his tutor. Zhuang Shu was a model student who had won many awards, was handsome, and always popular among girls. Shi Guang tried to forget all this and had dinner with her uncle and aunt. Her aunt took her mother's side and said that Mr. Ni had turned out to be a very mean person. Her mother had married him lovingly when he had nothing, but now that he had become successful, he divorced her at this stage of life. In short, she spoke badly about Shi Guang's father. Her uncle calmed her down and said that no matter what happened, both parents were important, and Mr. Ni loved his daughter very much and considered her the apple of his eye. He told her not to turn Shi Guang against her father. These days, all the friends were planning to go to a job fair, submit their resumes and search for job interviews. Shi Guang kept remembering what Zhuang Shu had said, whether she could achieve something on her own and prove herself at least once. In the end, she decided to go to the job fair as well. On that day, all the friends gathered in the morning, got ready, and packed into a bus to go there. They found out that the boys had already arrived too. Shi Guang didn't know that Zhuang Shu would also be there because he already had a job, but he had come to accompany his friends. There was a huge crowd, and they moved from stall to stall, where representatives from different companies were seated. Qualified candidates' CVs were accepted, and everyone spread out. Zhuang Shu was standing with Rong, who said that this was the company where she wanted to get a job. She hoped none of her other friends would submit their CVs there because that would increase her competition. Finally, everyone came outside. Shi Guang came out last and said that she also wanted to submit her CV to Shenggong Company. But the time was up. This was the same company where Rong had submitted her CV. Zhuang Shu told her that if she really wanted to submit her CV there, he could help her. As one of the representatives, there was his senior. Seeing this, Rong feels very bad. However, Zhuang Shu goes inside and helps submit her CV. As soon as Shi Guang's name is spoken, Lin Yusin, who is standing nearby, immediately becomes alert. Hearing Shi Guang's name, he rushes over and takes her CV in his hands. From her photo, he recognizes that she is the same girl he had a crush on. Actually, after the accident, he could no longer continue in the medical field, so he had moved into the business world. When all the friends leave the fair, Rong realizes that in the crowd she has lost her phone. Back at the hostel, everyone discusses how she will receive interview calls now. Then they remember that she also provided her email address and her hostel's phone number along with her mobile number. But Rong gets a huge shock when she finds out that the very next day, Shenggong Company has already called Shi Guang and invited her for an interview. Rong feels extremely bad. Some insensitive friends keep asking why Rong hasn't received a call yet. At this time, Lin Yusin is the GM of that company, and he also finds out that Mr. Ni's daughter is coming for the interview. Mr. Ni is a very big name, and many people notice it just by looking at her CV. Of course, everyone assumes she will definitely get the job. Shi Guang sits with her friend and prepares for the interview. Her friend Feng tells her that even if she doesn't get the job, it won't be a problem for her. But Shi Guang says that she wants to prove herself and test her limits. When she goes for the interview, she realizes that because of her father's name, she is already recognized there, making the interview seem very easy. At the same time, a high-profile meeting is going on in the company about future decisions. When Lin Yusin is asked for his opinion, he speaks very sharply and presents ideas that leave everyone shocked. His vision is far ahead, and he points out things that others hadn't even thought of. Because of this, he comes into the chairman's notice, while some selfish board members start feeling threatened and say that he should have remained a surgeon instead of coming into business. When Shi Guang comes out, she notices the Hoya Bank building in front of her. This is the same bank where Zhuang Shu is going to work. During lunchtime, she reaches there, and when her friends ask her about the interview, they find out that she has cleared it and will soon receive an offer. Hearing this, Rong's face is worth seeing. She becomes extremely jealous. Rong still hasn't even received an interview call. Curious and anxious, Rong goes to Zhuang Shu's mother's house and asks for a favor. When Zhuang Shu comes home, she tells him to ask his senior at the company to check why she hasn't received a call yet. She just wants to know where she is lacking. The scene then shifts to the next day. Shi Guang receives a message saying that all the friends are gathered at one place and she is also being called there. She happily rushes to the location, but everything is different there. Everyone is standing angrily, and Zhuang Shu is also present. Rong confronts Shi Guang and says, "Don't you have any shame? You considered me your competition. The interview call came to the hostel, and you didn't tell me. I never thought I was raising a snake in my sleeve." She insults Shi Guang badly. Shi Guang tries to explain that there has been a misunderstanding and says she never attended that call and didn't even know about it. But Rong has come fully prepared. That day, there was no one else in the hostel. Everyone else was either out of town, at a party, or somewhere else. Only Shi Guang was there. Zhuang Shu had checked all the records and found out that at 2:30, a call came to the hostel and someone attended it, saying that they would pass the message to Rong. Shi Guang explains that shortly after everyone left, she herself went to the library and knew nothing about it. But Rong accuses her of not wanting Rong and Zhuang Shu to be together, because Zhuang Shu's office building would be opposite her own office. She accuses Shi Guang of trying to push her out and take the job herself, saying that Shi Guang had always had a crush on Zhuang Shu. Shi Guang feels deeply humiliated. She tries to speak, but no one believes her. When she tries to make a call, Zhuang Shu snatches the phone away. Crying, she leaves the place. Old memories flood back. For 4 years in university, she had silently liked Zhuang Shu. She had even confirmed from others and once directly asked Rong if something was going on between her and Zhuang Shu. Rong had said no. After that, Shi Guang had confessed to Zhuang Shu, but he had replied, "I'm sorry." Still, she didn't give up and said she would continue pursuing him, hoping that one day he might change his mind. Later, people started talking about her because some had seen her proposing. They said she was trying to come between Rong and Zhuang Shu and betraying her own roommate. She was hurt back then too, and now, once again, she doesn't feel like going back to the hostel, so she goes to her uncle's house. Seeing her, Her cousin jokes that she must have been rejected again and has broken her heart twice already. Hearing this, she gets fired up and decides that the next day she will gather evidence to prove her innocence. She goes to the hostel to collect some belongings, but Rong shows up. After insulting her again, Rong tells her proudly that Zhuang Shu has arranged another interview for her and even gifted her a mobile phone. She says she has forgiven Shi Guang for everything. Shi Guang responds sarcastically, asking why she is showing off so much over such a small gift. Rong replies that a gift isn't about size, it represents love. A little later, Feng arrives at the hostel, confused about why everyone looks upset. A friend tells her that Shi Guang had received Rong's interview call but deliberately didn't inform her. Feng immediately says, "Who said that? I was the one who attended that call." As soon as she says this, everyone realizes that Shi Guang was innocent. Later, Feng invites everyone to eat together to clear everything up. She also calls some friends and a teacher. Feng shows proof that she had come back to the hostel that day to pick up something she had forgotten, and at that time the call came. Since no one else was there, she attended it. After that, she took a taxi and left. She didn't inform Rong because the company had said they would personally call her again. After some time, Shi Guang also arrives and says that she has collected proof as well. At 2:30, she had submitted a book at the library and had a computerized receipt with the exact time printed on it. This clearly proves that Shi Guang was telling the truth and that Feng was not covering for her. The HR person involved knew her father well, and after investigating, they found out that an employee had made the statement but then forgot to follow up and later lied to shift the blame. Shi Guang then says that if the company and its employees are so irresponsible and caused her such humiliation, she is rejecting the job offer altogether. After this, she emerges like a hero. Gossip spreads everywhere, and everyone starts calling Shi Guang innocent. Rong, on the other hand, is criticized for accusing her without thinking. Feng mentions that she had invited Rong and her best senior as well, but neither of them showed up. Zhuang Shu also finds out through his senior that Shi Guang was truly innocent and had been unfairly blamed. At that moment, Zhuang Shu's mother comes to him and suggests that Rong is a good girl and that he should choose her as his life partner. She also hints at something that suggests Zhuang Shu had used his recommendation to get Rong the interview call. Shi Guang going to her professor's office once. She had submitted a draft of her thesis and had come just to get feedback on it. Coincidentally, at the same time, Zhuang Shu was also standing there. Right in front of him, the professor scolds Shi Guang badly and tells her that her thesis is the weakest he has seen so far. He insults her a lot and says that if she doesn't make any improvement, she won't be able to graduate this year. Zhuang Shu tries to take her side, but Shi Guang herself stops him and asks him not to speak. Because of this, the professor scolds her even more and gives her a strict timeline. She must submit a better draft within 1 month, or she should consider herself failed. Looking at Zhuang Shu, it's clear he feels bad for Shi Guang. But Shi Guang doesn't want to keep any connection with him anymore. These days, she isn't even staying at the hostel. Instead, she's staying at her uncle's house. Meanwhile, she meets Liang, who tells her that these are their last days since it's the final semester. She asks Shi Guang to come back and stay at the hostel and suggests that they can study together, especially since Shi Guang is having issues with her thesis. Actually, Liang was Rong's very good friend. Shi Guang directly tells her that she once overheard her talking to Rong and realized that neither of them has a good place for her in their hearts. In fact, before Zhuang Shu proposed, he had taken Rong's permission and asked whether there was anything between them. Rong played a trick and told Liang as well that Shi Guang is so beautiful and wealthy, and if even she gets rejected by Zhuang Shu, then it assures Rong that he will never stray from her path. Meaning, Zhuang Shu had said yes to Shi Guang only to test himself. After all this, Shi Guang was left with no respect. Leaving all love matters aside, right now Shi Guang is worried about her thesis draft. Just then, she gets a call. It's from Zhuang Shu. He tells her that he has sent her an email containing material that can help her prepare a strong draft, exactly the kind their professor likes. When Shi Guang checks, she realizes that he prepared a lot of material for her and even translated it. At first, she wonders why he would do so much for her. Then she understands that Rong had been clever with her, and this is Zhuang Shu's way of apologizing on Rong's behalf. Angry, she calls his dorm again. His friend picks up and tells her that Zhuang Shu is sleeping because he has been working continuously for 2 or 3 nights, collecting something. Hearing this, Shi Guang's anger cools down. She doesn't say anything, but she decides that whatever she does, she will do it on her own. She deletes all the drafts he sent her. 1 month later, she goes to the professor with her proposal and he really likes it. He tells her that if she works on this, she can definitely pass this year. He even says he had no idea she was so talented. These days, everyone feels that they will all separate soon, and Shi Guang feels the same. She doesn't want to part from her friends when there is already a crack between them. One day, she goes somewhere with her cousin Rui. He has finished high school and now has an entrance exam which has 2 stages. For that, they have to go to another city, and Shi Guang goes with him. Before going inside, Rui tells her that once he goes in, she'll see a surprise, a special person. But even when he comes out, that special person doesn't appear. Then it's revealed that Zhuang Shu's brother, Zhuang Fei, studies with Rui and had also come there to give the test. That's why Rui thought Zhuang Shu would come too, his sister's crush. Guang feels bad knowing all this, but she still behaves nicely with Zhuang Fei and even treats both of them to a meal at a good place. They have to stay there for a day because the second exam is the next day. Finally, the next day, Zhuang Shu also arrives with his brother. The brothers go inside, leaving Guang and Zhuang Shu alone. She doesn't want to talk to him much because she's upset, but he tells her that since she treated his brother yesterday, today he should get the chance to serve them. He takes her to the same restaurant and orders food, asking them to serve it as soon as the boys finish their exam. This brings back old memories for Guang. When Zhuang Shu's mother needed surgery, he needed money, and Guang gave him her savings. But he returned the money very quickly. Even now, she feels that just because she treated his brother yesterday, he is treating her today in return. She gets angry, doesn't wait to eat, and goes outside to sit. Zhuang Shu feels bad seeing all this, but he knows it's his own doing. Later, they all eat together. After the boys finish their last exam, Rui asks them to come along, but Zhuang Shu says they can't because their mom is coming and has invited them for a meal. Hearing this, Guang feels they are talking about Rong and immediately leaves. On the way, she tells Rui that there is nothing between her and Zhuang Shu anymore because he wants to keep his distance from her. She reminds him that she had given Zhuang Shu 50,000 when his mom needed surgery, and even the 800 she borrowed from Rui was returned to her after 6 months, with 10% interest. And because she treated his brother yesterday, he came today just to return the favor. After hearing this, Rui also feels bad about his former tutor and tells his sister to forget it. Someone better will come into her life. But at the same time, he jokingly complains that Zhuang Shu returned all her money but never returned Rui's 800, and now the interest must have become huge. Time passes like this, and the day of Guang's thesis presentation arrives. She gives her presentation, and coincidentally, Zhuang Shu is secretly sitting there listening. He realizes that she didn't use any of the material he provided. She cleared the thesis on her own. After that, Guang goes to the hostel to pack her things. Liang comes to her, apologizes, and invites her out for drinks. Later, Guang falls asleep, but her friends become very emotional. One of them is leaving the next day and doesn't know when they'll meet again. Then their graduation ceremony takes place. Everyone looks happy, but also sad about separating. They help pack for the friend who is leaving that day and go to see her off, crying as they do. The boys also arrive, and they decide to have one last reunion since they don't know when they'll meet again. They all go to the airport to see her off and then return toward the hostel. But the bus coming toward their university is extremely crowded, and due to the pushing, Guang is left behind. She thinks she'll take the next bus, but it turns out that was the last bus. She isn't alone though, Zhuang Shu is also left behind. Seeing this, she doesn't know whether to be happy or sad, but she feels more sad. Zhuang Shu gets a call from Rong and tells her that both he and Guang are left behind and will reach later. Guang comments that Rong must feel bad and that he might get scolded, but he says there's nothing to feel bad about. The funny thing is, both of them are carrying only some loose change for bus fare. They don't have money for a taxi, so they have to walk back. While walking, Guang's feet start hurting because she's wearing heels. She tells him to go ahead and that she'll come slowly. She behaves very coldly with him and thinks to herself that he always wants to repay everything immediately because he doesn't want any connection with her. She didn't use his thesis material either, meaning she hasn't accepted Rong's apology through him. Zhuang Shu wants to say something else, but Guang gets angry and says that he thinks of her as a spoiled rich girl with no goals in life. She admits she is spoiled because she doesn't live life like him. She hasn't set any big mission in life and can't top like him, but that doesn't mean she's useless. She just wants to live the moments in front of her without worrying about the future. Zhuang Shu says this in a way that sounds like he's repenting for rejecting her once. But Guang misunderstands it and thinks he regrets not proposing to Rong yet. She tells him it's okay. Opportunities that slip away will come back in the future. Zhuang Shu, meanwhile, thinks she's hinting that their paths might cross again someday. Talking like this, they finally reach the university. He says he'll drop her in front of the hostel. But Guang again thinks negatively and feels he just wants to see Rong. She goes inside, but before leaving, she finally says things she couldn't say in 4 years. She tells him that he looks better with short hair and in white clothes. Then she stands on the terrace, calls out his name, waves at him and says goodbye. Zhuang Shu thinks she's just waving, but in reality, her eyes are full of tears. She is saying goodbye to her first love forever. No matter how he was or how much pain he gave her, he was still her first love. She decides then and there that she will bury all his memories and the pain right there. After this, the scene shifts. After graduation, she's very upset about being separated from her friends. But she has the world's best brother, Rue, with her. He says that he has finished high school and she has graduated, and money is not a problem for either of them. So they go on a Europe tour. They get along very well, constantly fighting, teasing, and enjoying themselves. Even on the flight, when Rue tries to take a selfie, she scolds him, saying it might become their last photo. Out of fear, the uncle sitting next to them deletes his own selfie. They spend 2 months traveling and enjoying life. When they return to China, her mom comments that she thought Shiguang would gain weight after enjoying so much, but instead she has lost weight. Actually, Shiguang didn't like European food. Then they talk about her future. She tells her parents about the companies where she got opportunities, but she rejected them herself. Her dad wants her to take over their family company and wants to discuss it with her. But before this meeting, her mom drops another piece of news on her. The news is that the company where she had successfully cleared the interview is actually one where 49% of the shares belong to her own father. He had made a huge investment in that company, but now he wants to step back from it. When she goes to meet her father, it becomes clear that she is quite cold and rude toward him. On the other hand, her father loves her deeply. He tells her, "You left without even meeting me, and now you've come without bringing me a gift." Hearing this, she immediately picks up a gift from downstairs and hands it to him, leaving him embarrassed. Her father keeps insisting that she should come and take over the company. However, because of his divorce from her mother, she doesn't hold very positive feelings toward him. She angrily says that the woman who caused the divorce is still alive after so many years. He had once said that woman didn't have much time left to live, yet even after her graduation, she is still alive. She sarcastically asks whether that woman has an unlimited refill of life. Her father scolds her, telling her not to speak that way about elders. He explains that her mother overthought everything, and that he and that woman were just friends. He then becomes emotional and reminds her how he used to carry her on his shoulders when she was a child. Now he needs her. He asks whether she won't take responsibility for his company, since one day everything will belong to her anyway. After that, she thinks calmly and consults her mother. She has always listened to her mother more than her father. Her mother tells her that she isn't mature enough yet to work with her father in business. She believes that instead of working, she would mostly end up fighting with him. So she advises her to work somewhere else for a few years, gain maturity, and then take over the family business later. Finally, she decides to join Shang Yen Company, but not the Shanghai branch that would be directly facing Zhuang Shu's office. Instead, she chooses a branch near one of their factories. That branch also has a hostel for employees, and she decides to join there. Meanwhile, Zhuang Shu is shown attending a meeting from his bank with Shang Yen Company. This is where he comes face to face with Lin Yusin. Yusin casually asks about a girl he once saw when she came to submit a classmate's CV, wondering if she got the job. Zhuang Shu replies that she went abroad. Deep down, Yusin is very curious about his crush. On the other hand, Shiguang arrives in another city and officially joins the company. The factory has an employee hostel where she starts living. She feels that she can learn a lot here, and the hostel atmosphere reminds her of her university days. Her roommates seem very chill, and she quickly becomes good friends with them on the very first day. Her roommates tell her to check her weight and jokingly warn her that she will definitely gain weight within a month because the cafeteria food is magical. She eats at the cafeteria regularly and stays busy with work, learning many new things. Just like that, 1 month passes. When she checks her weight, she realizes she has gained not 1, but 3 kilograms. She screams in shock. Later, she finds out that the cafeteria was called magical because the food was so bad that it was nearly inedible. Instead, employees survived on snacks or went out to eat, which caused everyone to gain weight. Her friend Jinji complains about the terrible food, heavy workload, and the fact that there are no good-looking colleagues. She misses university days when there were so many handsome boys around. Just then, another colleague joins them and shares exciting news. She tells them that a very handsome man is about to join their branch as the new head. He used to be a manager at headquarters. She adds that he is extremely handsome and was once a surgeon, but for some unknown reason, he left the medical field and has been working in their company for years. Jinji immediately starts daydreaming, happy that at least they'll get to see a good-looking face. Shiguang, however, doubts it and says that he must be old by now, considering he studied medicine, became a surgeon, and then worked in the company for so many years. One evening, Shiguang is in the hostel watching her favorite drama, but the internet speed is terrible. She also forgot to download the next episode. The girls make a bet, and Shiguang loses. As punishment, she has to go to the office at night and download the episode from there. Late at night, when the office is empty, she enters using her access card and connects to the office internet. While the episode is downloading, she notices some wiring issues and starts fixing them. Suddenly, someone arrives and turns on all the lights. At that moment, she is crouched under a desk like a thief. In that exact state, the hero, Yusun, sees her. She struggles to free herself from the wires and stands up in front of him with messy hair. Instead of apologizing, she starts scolding him, asking who he is and accusing him of being an outsider who has come to steal. Xianghua finally downloads the episode and returns to her friends, but she keeps thinking again and again, who was that man? When she was tangled in wires like a joker, with her hair all messed up, calling him a thief, he had completely ignored her and quietly walked away. The next day at work, Shi Guang receives a message from her friend Jin Ji. Jin Ji tells her that the new boss everyone was talking about has arrived, the GM, and he is from her department. She excitedly says he's really hot and that all of Shi Guang's predictions were wrong. A little later, Shi Guang also sees that handsome guy, and to her shock, the handsome GM is none other than the same man she had called a thief the previous night. The moment she sees him, Shi Guang panics and tells Jin Ji that it feels like her career is about to crash before it can even take off. Just then, Shi Guang gets a phone call and learns that a major emergency has occurred. A few days earlier, some people from the procurement department had come, and in a hurry they had taken signatures on some documents. One of Shi Guang's seniors had checked everything at the time, but since she was sitting at Shi Guang's desk, she used Shi Guang's stamp. Now, when the signatures and stamp were reviewed, Shi Guang's name was on them, and because of overlapping figures there was a big discrepancy. Both departments start blaming each other. Shi Guang arrives there, and all the blame falls on her because her name is on the documents. However, her senior Chi-Chi stands up for her and says no one should blame Shi Guang because she herself had used the stamp. On the other side, Lin Yusun is shown inspecting factories and plants. He is carefully observing everything so he can report to headquarters. The higher-ups have also decided to start another plant to expand the business. Yusun then receives a call informing him that a serious issue has occurred. He calmly tells them not to worry, saying that since the news has reached him, he will handle it personally and asks everyone involved to report to him. For the investigation, Shi Guang and Chi-Chi are called in. Both of them sit outside, scared and anxious because the other department's manager is inside meeting Yusun, and they know he will put all the blame on them. Chi-Chi tells Shi Guang that the man inside is Mr. Mo, the head of the procurement department, and just by looking at his personality, it's clear he's a shady person. As Mr. Mo walks out, he scolds Shi Guang badly, saying she made a huge mistake and questioning how such incompetent people are hired these days. Shi Guang argues back with him, and he leaves after threatening her, saying that since her manager isn't around today, he will tell him to fire such an employee as soon as he arrives. Yusun hears all of this but doesn't say anything at the time. Later, Yusun calls Shi Guang inside and tells her that after the mistake she made, she doesn't deserve to stay in the finance department. Shi Guang thinks she's about to be fired, but instead, he tells her that her punishment is being transferred to the admin department. She packs up her things and leaves. In reality, Yusun is indirectly protecting her. He has already noticed her hostility with Mr. Mo and knows that other managers might gang up on her, bully her, and possibly get her fired. So he brings her under his wing to protect her. Not only that, her best friend Jin Ji is also there, so Shi Guang is bound to have a good time. On the surface, Yusun pretends he doesn't know Shi Guang at all, but deep down, he has had a long-standing crush on her. She is given a task, organizing the storeroom records properly. It's a tough and exhausting job, but Shi Guang isn't one to give up. On the very first day, she performs extremely well and organizes many things. While working, she even hums songs. At that moment, Yusun comes in. Without turning around, she orders him to bring some files, thinking it's her friend. The boss obediently brings the files. From that day on, he starts coming there daily. For an entire week, Shi Guang works there, while Yusun stands around for hours checking records. Because of this, a lot of gossip spreads in the office. Some people say Yusun kept her in his department to protect her. Others say he keeps visiting the record room just because she's there. Shi Guang could have fallen for these rumors, but she notices exactly which records he checks. She realizes that he suspects Mr. Mo and is reviewing all purchases related to him. She tells her friends that he is working on a very big and noble cause, and that she has become a part of it. The next day, before Yusun arrives, she neatly arranges all the records he usually checks. She tells him this will make things easier and that while organizing everything, she has memorized a lot because her memory is very good. Hearing this, Yusun is shocked and thinks to himself that her memory is so sharp, yet she doesn't remember him at all. He feels a bit offended and thinks she deserves some punishment. The CEO then orders her to pull out 10 years of records, every purchase order, quotation, and price difference, and prepare a complete report. This becomes extremely difficult for her. Still, she works wholeheartedly and completes the report, hoping that afterward she can take 3 days leave. She believes that if the boss likes her report, he'll surely approve her leave. When she shows him the report, made with a massive spreadsheet, he praises her. She immediately applies for leave. He asks what's wrong, and she says she's not feeling well and might have seasonal fever. He replies that he's a doctor and she shows no such symptoms. So her leave is rejected. She leaves, sulking, realizing she has no say at all. Meanwhile, the girls find out something else. There were some luxury hostels, but since they were full, the girls were shifted to other hostels. Even though they had applied long ago, Mr. Mo's relatives were given rooms, and they were sidelined. After hearing this, Shi Guang decides to raise her voice against it. But since Mr. Mo is a manager, the only person she can complain to is the GM, Yusin. She gathers her courage all day and finally goes to Yusin, telling him she has something important and confidential to discuss. He takes her into his room. As he removes his coat, standing in a white shirt, he looks extremely handsome. White has always been Shi Guang's favorite. Dramatically, she tells him that something is happening in the company that could damage its reputation. After all that build-up, the issue turns out to be just about hostel rooms. Still, Yusin takes action. He calls the responsible person, who admits his mistake, removes Mr. Mo's people, and gives the rooms to the rightful girls. However, another issue arises. The new hostel only has 2 bedrooms. Since Shi Guang's friends had arrived earlier, they are sent there, while Shi Guang ends up alone in the old hostel. Along with this, she receives a shocking message from Yusin. He subtly tells her that if she's pretending to be an ordinary person, she should do it properly. Why bring hostile complaints? This means he already knows she is Ni Yuan Cheng's daughter. She gets very worried and calls Rue, telling him that her strict boss somehow knows she's Mr. Ni's daughter. Rue replies jokingly that maybe she caught his attention for some other reason and asks if she did anything strange. She says she did do many strange things, but nothing personal. She wonders if he holds some grudge against her. Alongside this, we learn more about the company's internal politics. Yusin's grandfather is the chairman. Many relatives work there, and a power struggle is ongoing. Everyone is trying to pull the rope toward themselves. Then a bank scene is shown. Jiang Shu's boss orders him to visit Shang Yen Company's plant, inspect the factory, and bring back all the information. An audit is required before payments can be cleared. Yusin also finds out about Jiang Shu's arrival. He recognizes the name as Shi Guang's classmate, the same guy who came with his CV that day. Yusin says he doesn't want to meet him, instructs that he be taken directly to the finance department, not admin, and makes sure Shi Guang is far away doing inventory checks that day. At the same time, some girls are gossiping, and one messages her colleague saying that a very hot person from Huayab has arrived and his name is Jiang Shu. The moment Shi Guang hears that name, her first love comes rushing back with full force. She kept running non-stop. Everyone stared at her in shock. When she finally came to her senses and turned around, behind her stood the cruel society, led by her boss, Yosin. He said to her, "What was all that? Is some kind of shooting going on? If you keep acting like this, you'll be punished. Go, and for the entire week you'll check inventory alone." Poor girl couldn't have received a worse punishment than that. She started thinking how low and disgusting a person he was. Working there was already very difficult. The atmosphere was intense. Sometimes she had to go up and down, sometimes climb stairs, and lift heavy items as well. While doing all this, she got injured once on her forehead. Even her beauty was disturbed. Still, she had to keep working. The next day, she even fell down the stairs. Knees, legs, thighs, elbows, there were injury marks everywhere. But even then, she completed the inventory. She was extremely tired and thought that the whole weekend she would do nothing but sleep. Then her friends said they were planning a trip to Shanghai. As soon as she heard the name Shanghai, she thought, what's the point of sleeping? Why not go out and travel too? The next day, they planned to take a lift from outside the factory. But the car that stopped was none other than Yosin's. Even at the last moment she tried to refuse, but her friends caught her and made her sit in the front seat with Yosin, hinting that since it was the weekend, the boss would be in a good mood, she should improve her relationship with him. But Shi Guang had no interest at all, neither in her boss nor in his talks. Sitting in the front seat, she just kept sleeping. Her friends told the boss that she was actually very tired this whole week. She had worked so much. Look, she even had an injury on her head, and she had once fallen down the stairs too. Yosin felt pity for her, and because of that, instead of dropping them on the highway when they entered the city, he dropped them right in front of the temple they wanted to visit. Shi Guang woke up yawning, and when she looked to the side, Yosin was sitting there. She didn't make eye contact, didn't even say thanks. She just got up and ran outside. People there said that any wish made at that place surely comes true. She wished that no matter what happens, her boss should leave. Whether he gets promoted, demoted, or even taken away by aliens, he should just disappear. Meanwhile, her friends were making plans to roam around. But when Shi Guang saw the Hoya Bank building from a distance, she decided to go there. Maybe she might catch a glimpse of Jiang Shu. She told her friends she had come here many times before and knew where the best food was. Her treat. She took them to a restaurant right in front of Hoya Bank. At the same time, in the building next door, Yosin was having a meeting with the chairman. He presented a report showing major fraud and revealed that many crocodiles were working in their company, holding high positions. His grandpa was very happy and impressed. He thought it hadn't even been many days since Yosin joined. Yet his grandson was a natural player, a born player. At the same time, he also felt sad. He kept looking at Yosin's hand again and again. Actually, it was because of an injury to this very hand that he had left surgeries and entered the business world. On the other side, Shiguang treated her friends to food at a very nice place. They were shocked at how much money she was spending. Not knowing that she was going to be the future heiress, money was no problem for her. In the end, Grandpa told Yosin, "You don't need to do anything. Whatever needs to be done, I will do." He was doing all this so that no one would hold any grudge against Yosin. Later, Shiguang made an excuse and brought her friends to a cafe. She treated them to cake and was sitting right outside the entrance of Hoya Bank, repeatedly looking outside. One of her friends said that there were no hot guys around. Of course, it was Saturday. Hearing this, she felt how foolish she was. After working the whole week, it didn't even occur to her that on a Saturday, what would Jiangshu even be doing here? From her friends' talks, it felt like you don't feel the urge until you see what you like. The same was true about Jiangshu. She hadn't thought about him for so long, but after hearing his name, she wanted to see him. Yongshu is working extra hours on Saturday and is sitting in his office. One of his colleagues is also sitting with him and starts gossiping. Actually, Yongshu is preparing a report on the Shangyan company. However, his boss doesn't seem to be in the mood to give a green signal for approving a loan to this company. That day, Yongshu didn't meet Lin Yusin during his visit, but later he finds out that Lin Yusin is actually the grandson of Shangyan company's chairman. His friend also teases him, saying that maybe he's taking extra interest in this company because his childhood friend works there, hinting at Rong. At that very moment, Yongshu receives a call from Rong, and he immediately goes downstairs to meet her. They meet at the same cafe where, just a while ago, Shiguang was sitting with her friends eating cake. Rong and Yongshu both seem to be doing well in their jobs and working lives. Rong tells him that she returned early and that his mom had sent some things from their hometown for him. They have been very close since childhood, as they were neighbors and knew each other well. While sitting there, Rong orders her favorite cake, but she finds out that it's already sold out. Some girls had just come and taken a large parcel of it. Those girls were none other than Shiguang and her friends, who had taken many cakes for their teammates. Now it was time to leave, and they stood by the roadside waiting for a taxi. Passing by on another route, Lin Yusin notices them, but this time he doesn't stop. Shiguang keeps looking at the Hoya Bank building and starts thinking about how big Shanghai is. She feels that it's almost impossible to randomly run into someone here. Still, she secretly wishes that she might somehow see Yongshu. With that thought, she heads back. Yusin didn't offer them a lift because he was going to visit a doctor. He wanted his head to recover so that he could perform surgeries again. However, the doctor tells him that he needs to exercise as much as possible. His daily life is normal, but he still cannot hold a surgical knife. On his way back, he sees a woman about to get hit by a motorcycle while crossing the road. He rushes to save her, but in the process he also gets badly injured. Later, one of the bosses comes to the office and informs everyone about this incident. As soon as Shiguang hears this, she feels that her temple wish has come true in a very wrong way. She starts feeling guilty, thinking she never meant for this to happen. The boss asks who can go once or twice a week to deliver files to Yusin. Shiguang immediately volunteers, saying that she has already caused a lot of trouble before and now wants to improve her image in the boss's eyes. She goes to Yusin's house with the files, where she is warmly welcomed by his maid, Miss Chan, who takes her to Yusin's room. At that time, Yusin is in his study. She delivers the files, asks about his health, and then sits outside waiting. She thought she'd only have to come once or twice a week, but he calls her again the very next day. The next day, she comes again and chats with Miss Chun, expressing how sorry she feels. Everyone knows how dedicated and brilliant Yusin was as a doctor, but fate had other plans. While walking around, Shiguang accidentally peeks into his window and gets caught. Yusin calls her inside and tells her that his caretaker is going on leave, so she should take a spare key and come again tomorrow to deliver files. Since he won't be able to open the door, she'll need the key. Back at the office, people start gossiping, wondering why Yusin keeps calling her so often. They suspect something is going on, but in reality, there isn't. Shiguang goes again and takes good care of him, brings him water, asks about his condition, and even offers to cook for him. Yusin asks why she's acting so guilty, as if his accident was her fault. She stays quiet, unable to say that she had prayed intensely for him at the temple. Yusin then says that this was his second accident. The first one had ended his career. He asks if hearing about his accident brings back any old memories, hinting at their past state. But Shiguang reacts blankly, as if she doesn't remember anything. This angers Yusin, and he tells her to leave and not come back again. In the past, Yusin had been set up on a blind date with Mr. Ni's daughter and had fallen for her at first sight. His cousin had even told him that the girl was interested in him too. He believed that Shiguang was the one he was going to meet. But after his accident, she never came to see him, never even checked on him. To him, she acted like a stranger, and that hurt him deeply. Later, Shiguang finds out that Mr. Mo has been caught by the internal audit team for corruption and taking kickbacks, and he's likely going to jail. Shiguang and her friends celebrate because Mr. Mo had troubled them a lot. She realizes that this was probably possible because Yusin had been checking old data in the storeroom. 10 days later, Yusin returns to the office fully recovered. But now he completely ignores Shiguang, acting as if he doesn't know her. He doesn't assign her any work and instead gives tasks to others. Shiguang feels frustrated and finds his behavior strange, but consoles herself by thinking at least she doesn't have to do overtime. Meanwhile, Yongshu's boss questions him about why he prepared such a good report for that company. He accuses him of trying to make sure the company gets its payment easily. In reality, the boss is connected to people who oppose the company's second project expansion and are secretly trying to block their funding. Yongshu is even offered a transfer to the investment department with a higher salary if he prepares reports according to their wishes. One day, Yongshu's brother calls and asks why he isn't thinking about his love life, suggesting that Rong is a good girl and they should make their relationship official. Yongshu admits that while the girl is good, he feels it's already too late and starts regretting rejecting Shiguang. Elsewhere, Shiguang goes to Jinji's building, but Jinji doesn't have the keys, and her roommate is out. Shiguang decides to enter through the balcony, saying she grew up in the countryside and knows how to climb trees. She climbs up and is about to jump to the next terrace when Yusin and his friend pass by below. His friend screams on seeing her, startling Shiguang. Her hand slips, she falls onto a tree, and is about to fall badly when Yusin rushes forward and catches her with one hand. He himself falls to the ground but protects her. Though she doesn't suffer serious injuries, she loses consciousness. Yusin takes full care of her, rushes her to the hospital in an ambulance, gives her first aid, and even when she vomits on him, he doesn't mind at all. When she regains consciousness, she sees Yusin sitting beside her, gently giving her water and asking about her condition. He scolds her angrily for risking her life, which makes her burst into tears. She blames his friend for screaming and says that if she hadn't been there, she wouldn't be lying in a hospital bed. She then vents all her pent-up anger, asking if he has some grudge against her or her family, accusing him of overworking her and punishing her unfairly. Yusin replies that their families are on good terms and asks if she thinks only she can be hurt. His words are deep, but Shiguang doesn't understand what he means. Yusin then recalls his terrible accident, after which his left arm worked normally for daily life but not for surgery. That was the lowest point of his life. He had expected the girl he was excited to meet to at least come see him once, but she never did. That hurt him more than any superficial pain. The next morning, Shiguang's friends visit her and tell her how Yusin's inner doctor awakened when he saved her like a hero. Despite his injured left arm, they tell her how he gave her first aid, took care of her, scolded his friend for her sake, and didn't even hesitate when she vomited on him. Hearing this, Shiguang feels extremely ashamed and realizes that she was the real villain. She messages Yusin to thank him for everything and falls asleep. When she wakes up, she sees his message saying he's coming to see her. Before she can get ready, he enters the room. He says that their relationship has been bad, but now he wants to clear everything and start fresh, mainly because he hates seeing people cry. Doctors say she needs a CT scan and observation, but Yusin's doctor friend encourages him to spend time with her and win her heart. Yusin is shy, but he keeps coming to see her, bringing food under various excuses, claiming it's for friends. Many people come to consult him, showing how brilliant he is as a doctor. Shiguang realizes how happy he is when he works like this. When she tells Jinji everything, Jinji feels that Yusin might have fallen for her, but Shiguang avoids thinking about it. One day, while she's playing a game on her phone, Yusin comes in. She asks him to wait, and he leaves quietly. She apologizes, saying she's exercising her brain. The next day, Yusin brings her some files and explains that this kind of mental exercise is better for her brain than games, especially after an accident. Saying this as a former neurosurgeon, he gives her work and takes her phone to clear the game level himself. Though he can clear it easily, his grip isn't strong due to his injured hand, and seeing his condition fills him with regret. Shiguang realizing that Yusin was unable to clear the game because of weakness in his left hand. The game actually required good coordination between both hands. Although she noticed his weakness, she didn't want him to feel discouraged. That's why she told him that she herself couldn't clear the level either and said that the level was genuinely very difficult. After that, she meets his friend, Dr. Feng, and tells him that Yusin had to give up his career because of the accident. She asks why people keep questioning him again and again. Doesn't it reopen his old wounds? But Dr. Feng replies that medicine was his passion and becoming a surgeon was his obsession. He never truly moved on from it. Whether someone reminds him or not, it still runs in his veins. Indeed, while Yusun was spending time at the hospital, Shigong also felt that he was an amazing doctor, not just a great surgeon but also excellent at diagnosis. The way he identified illnesses was far beyond others. She then tries to cheer him up, saying that if he's good at his work, then she's good at hers too. She tells him that she completed all the tasks he gave her even while she was on the hospital bed. She submits the files and tells him that instead of thanking her, he should clear that game level for her. Her real intention was to keep his hands exercising through the game so his coordination could improve. She watches him play, pretending that the level is very difficult and that she herself took a long time to clear it. Meanwhile, Yusun says that he feels like her discharge time has come and that she'll soon return to her routine life. She feels sad for a moment, then decides that since it's the weekend, she should visit her mom first. She talks to her mother on the phone and lies, saying she slightly injured her leg after falling on the stairs. She decides to go by train and then take a cab. Yusun, who was standing behind her, overhears everything and tells her that he's also going to Wuxi and can give her a lift. He takes her along, and when she asks to be dropped nearby, he instead enters his phone password in front of her and tells her to put her address into the GPS. On the way, it starts raining. He mentions that whenever it rains, the accident affects his eyesight and he has to wear glasses. The accident was truly horrible. Hearing this, Shigong feels like encouraging him and tells him that he wasn't just a good doctor but also an excellent administrator. He thanks her, and when she asks why, he jokingly says it's because she's going to be his future boss. After all, her father owns half the company. He drops her off at her house, and she thanks him and asks him to drive safely. After the weekend, she rejoins the office, and everyone is happy to see her. They tease Jinji, saying it was her fault Shigong fell and that she should never forget her keys again. They also mention that Mr. Lin Yusun was very worried about her and didn't let them visit her at the hospital, saying she needed rest. Later, Yusun holds a meeting and tells everyone that it feels like their department is cursed. First, he had an accident and then this silly girl jumped off a building. To remove the curse, he suggests arranging a dinner. Everyone gets excited, and he says that he and Shigong will pay the bill since they're the ones removing the curse. Shigong gets worried, joking that jumping from a building turned out to be very expensive. Jinji reassures her that they'll choose a cheap place, but the restaurant turns out to be very fancy, and even the menu is premium. Everyone worries about how big the bill will be, but Jinji says not to worry because Mr. Lin Yusun has a big heart and will surely pay. Of course, the opposite happens. Yusun calls Shigong outside and pretends that he forgot his wallet. In the end, Shigong has to pay the entire bill herself. She jokes that others may not know, but he knows she's the boss's daughter, and besides, he paid her hospital bills, so they're even. Still, after paying for such expensive food alone, the meal feels stuck in her throat. Everyone keeps praising Yusun for being so generous. After dropping everyone off, Shigong turns back and asks him if, since they've made a fresh start and removed the curse, she can expect all misunderstandings and tensions between them to be over. Smiling, he agrees. On the other side, we see Zhuang Shu at his bank, where a new employee named Chris has joined. She's talented and eloquent, but soon realizes she won't get along with Zhuang Shu. She feels he's two-faced, nice on the surface but bad-mouthing her to the boss behind her back. Zhuang Shu receives a call from a friend inviting him to a wedding on January 2nd and reminding him that he must attend as the best man. This makes him nostalgic about their hostel days, when everyone promised to invite all friends to their weddings. He had joked that he'd be single the longest. Despite being handsome, he remained single because he once got a proposal but didn't feel worthy of accepting it. The truth is, he liked Shigong but never felt good enough for her. Meanwhile, Yusun keeps making Shigong work overtime and stays late himself. When she asks why only she's made to work overtime, he jokes that since she's the boss's daughter and half the profits go to her, she should work harder. He then gives her a cream for her scars and says she won't be able to reject him after that. Confused, she asks what he means, and he shows her a wedding invitation, the wedding of the same friend whose shouting caused her fall. He tells her she's invited too. Her friends examine the card and notice that Shigong's name is written next to Yusun's. Added later, they joke that maybe Yusun himself wrote it. Though she doesn't fully believe it, she later goes to Yusun's office and tells him she's decided to attend the wedding with him. He tells her to be ready and that they'll leave at 2 p.m. on New Year's Day. Later, she gets another call from the friend whose wedding is the next day. She's asked to come early to help with decorations, but she lies and says she has overtime work. In reality, she's going to attend the first wedding with Yusun. We also learn that she has been out of touch with most of her friends for a long time, and many believe she went abroad for studies, even though she only went on a trip. Finally, the new year arrives with intense cold. Unprepared, Shigong wears multiple jackets. Yusun says it's his first time taking a girl as his companion to a party and doesn't want to be embarrassed. He takes her shopping for warm clothes suitable for the wedding. The shop is expensive and owned by one of his patients, who immediately assumes Shigong is his girlfriend. Yusun doesn't deny it, saying it'll get them a discount. Hearing discount, Shurgong decides to let the misunderstanding be. She tries on dresses, gets her hair done, and ends up looking stunning. The shop owner refuses payment, saying Yusun saved her life. He insists on buying the clothes since his girlfriend likes them. Seeing the bill, Shurgong gets excited and wants to bring her friends next time. But Yusun warns her that without him, she won't get a discount. They arrive at the wedding, and just as Jinji predicted, Shurgong wasn't actually invited. Yusun cleverly covers it up, and the bride apologizes for causing her injuries. Yusun's teacher, Mr. Lee, also attends and teases him about finally having a girlfriend. Yusun clarifies that she's not his girlfriend yet, but he's pursuing her. Everyone enjoys the wedding, the food, and the fun. Outside, snowfall begins, lifting Shurgong's mood. Yusun goes to get the car, asking her to wait. While waiting, she suddenly runs into all her old friends, including Zhuang Shu, who are there decorating for another wedding. They tease her for lying about overtime. Zhuang Shu is shocked to learn she's working nearby and realizes he was misled about her going abroad. As emotions rise, Yusun returns, senses everything, and introduces himself, claiming he dragged her there despite her overtime. Everyone assumes they're a couple. Her friends tease her, while Zhuang Shu grows intensely jealous and leaves. After everyone leaves, Yusun says their car is blocked and that he won't take her back with a sad face. He tells her to enjoy the night, sightseeing, gaming, anything she wants, and hands her his wallet. Smiling at last, she says she wants to enjoy everything. She walks ahead with his wallet, and he follows her. Shurgang goes out with Yusun to enjoy themselves a lot. First of all, she ends up spending a lot of money playing games, but even there she keeps failing. The way she falls so badly in the game fires Yusun up. He takes off his coat, puts it aside, and says that this time he'll ride. But just as confidently as he moves forward, he loses all momentum. Shurgang still performs a bit better, but he comes in second last. After having fun there, they decide to go watch a movie. Shurgang asks him to pick a good movie that will keep her energetic and excited, otherwise she might fall asleep in the middle. As they stand together, Yusun takes good care of her. Seeing them, a nearby couple gets jealous. The girlfriend tells her boyfriend to look at how caring Yusun is and says he should learn something, because he doesn't take care of her at all. Then Shurgang and Yusun go inside, enjoy popcorn, and watch the movie. As usual, Shurgang falls asleep in the middle of the movie. Yusun gently lets her rest her head on his shoulder and gets lost in his thoughts. Even while the movie is playing, his attention is more on Shurgang than the screen. Long after the movie ends, she wakes up and feels embarrassed, wondering what she has done. Yusun tells her that she slept for a full 50 minutes and even explains the movie's ending to her. He then tells her that if she wants to look fresh tomorrow, she should go to sleep now because she has to attend a wedding. She teases him, saying she heard that he used to spend entire nights in the operation theater, so what happened? Why is he getting sleepy so early? She also complains that he still hasn't shown her the city's night view. Since she challenges him, he takes her to an amazing restaurant with a beautiful city night view. They enjoy late-night snacks and the scenery. Just as Yusun promised, he really lifts her mood. She then starts asking him about his life. Although Dr. Fengla has told her quite a bit, she says he didn't mention anything about Yusun's personal life, how many relationships he had, or how much dating he did. Yusun replies that he has always been single because he never really had the time. He then asks why she's suddenly so interested in his personal life. Hearing this, Shurgang gets shy. It's already quite late at night, so Yusun suggests that if they go back to Suzhou now and then return again in the morning snowfall, she probably won't be able to attend the daytime wedding. He suggests that there's a very good hotel in the same building where she can stay, while his apartment is within walking distance. He jokes that he needs a good night's sleep because he has to look very handsome tomorrow. Shurgang tries to check into the hotel but realizes she forgot her ID card. She calls Yusun back. There's a police station nearby, so she gets a temporary card made and finally checks in. Yusun jokes that they've become quite close now, since they even visited a police station together. She tells him to stop talking nonsense and to come tomorrow looking super handsome and extra smart. Even before sleeping, she keeps thinking about Yusun. She messages him to see if he has fallen asleep. From his room, he shows her the night view and says her room probably has a similar view, and it really does. While chatting like this, she doesn't even realize when she falls asleep. The next morning, she wakes up to Yusun's message saying that he's waiting for her at breakfast and that since she has 2 or 3 vouchers, he won't let them go to waste. The hotel staff actually assume they're a couple. On the other side, we see that Zhuangshu was very upset the previous night. He drinks with his friend, and memories of Shurgang keep coming back to him. When Shurgang proposed to him, he had said no, but she told him she wasn't in a hurry and would wait until he developed feelings for her. Now he feels very sad seeing her with her boyfriend and wonders whether her promise couldn't even last a few years. Meanwhile, Shurgang is enjoying Yusun's company. She has breakfast with him and compliments his dressing sense, saying he looks very handsome. He even changed his car and says it's a great one his grandfather gifted him, which he hadn't used in a long time but decided to take out today to look extra smart. Shurgang laughs. He really does look very handsome, and his expensive car makes them look even more like a perfect couple. When Shurgang reaches the wedding venue, She finds out that Juangshu is the groomsman and Rong is the bridesmaid. Seeing them together upsets her again, but she somehow composes herself. Her friend praises her boyfriend for being handsome and owning such a great car. Both Yusun and Shigang give a very nice gift to the bride, who hugs Shigang and wishes her happiness, hinting that she should forget the past, referring to Juangshu. Juangshu keeps glancing at Shigang again and again, feeling jealous seeing her with her boyfriend. Eventually, they enter the hall and Shigang sits with Yusun. 2 empty chairs nearby turn out to be for Juangshu and Rong. Juangshu is about to sit right next to Shigang. When the bride and groom make their entrance and stand on stage, Juangshu's eyes meet Shigang's. She becomes nervous and sits up straight. Yusun notices everything. Rong then sits down and recognizes Yusun's name, realizing he is the chairman's grandson from Shengen Company. Everyone is impressed. Rong then starts making sarcastic remarks toward Shigang, asking why she went to such a small city when Shanghai has so many opportunities. Shigang calmly replies that she doesn't need opportunities and reminds Rong that if she ever has problems in her company, she should remember that Shigang's boyfriend belongs to her boss's family. Rong is left burning with jealousy. Yusun laughs and says Shigang may look delicate, but she can say sharp things too. Soon, Juangshu also sits down, making Shigang extremely nervous. It's announced that Juangshu has been promoted and his salary has doubled. Everyone is surprised and envious of his rapid success. Even Rong is shocked because he never told her about his promotion. Shigang takes care of Yusun by serving him food herself, which he really likes. This makes Juangshu even more jealous. He stops eating and keeps drinking instead. When the bride and groom come around for a toast, Juangshu's hand shakes and he spills his drink on Shigang's clothes. She becomes nervous. Yusun steps in, cleans things up, and controls the situation. Juangshu apologizes and says he'll take 3 shots as compensation, continuing to drink and making things awkward. Shigang goes to the washroom to clean herself but feels disturbed by Juangshu's behavior and words. She is soft-hearted and gets hurt easily. When she comes out, Juangshu is standing there. He asks if she's still using her old number and tells her to message him her account details so he can send money for the dress. As she tries to leave, he says that some promises have a very short shelf life, just a few years. Hearing this, Shigang's heart breaks. She says she's human, not a stone. He replies by thanking her for teaching him the true meaning of love and bringing him back to his senses, then walks away. Shigang stays there, unable to even stand, crying repeatedly. Yusun comes to comfort her. She feels embarrassed and tries to hide her tears, but he tells her she can cry in front of him. He says he didn't expect to confess his feelings like this, but he can't wait any longer and wants to truly be her boyfriend. She is shocked. Her heart just broke moments ago, and now he has confessed. She can't respond. Yusun then tells her that her clothes were already in his car and asks her to change and not overthink. She comes out wearing a beautiful dress, and everyone can't stop staring at her. As they prepare to leave, Juangshu passes by and bumps into her. Her heart softens again. She tells Yusun she won't go back to Suzhou and wants to stay with her mom for 2 days. He offers to drop her at the station, but she refuses. He asks if now that he has confessed, she will avoid him. She apologizes and says she hasn't moved on yet. Yusun tells her to say that confidently. It's not her fault if she hasn't made space for him yet. He tells her to stop blaming herself and to become strong enough that no one can hurt her so easily. He says he understands, can help her, and hopes she moves on soon. He reminds her that she isn't guilty in every situation and asks her to make space for him in her heart too. After that, we see Juangshu and Rong. Rong is upset and asks why he didn't tell her about his promotion. Everyone thought they were in a relationship, but they never officially were, despite being seen as childhood sweethearts. Rong accuses him of changing after seeing Shigang and claims he trusted Shigang more than her. Juangshu says it's his personal matter. Rong gets angry, saying she's in Shanghai and can find someone better. He tells her to go ahead. A flashback reveals Rong's true colors, how she manipulated situations, spread rumors about Shigang, and was always jealous of her. Juangshu realizes too late that trusting Rong was a mistake. Meanwhile, Shigang keeps seeing Yusun in her dreams, sometimes as her cousin, sometimes asking for an answer to his proposal. She wakes up to her mom and aunt talking about her relationship, advising her to choose someone nearby and to stay in a relationship for at least 2 years before deciding on marriage. After spending a day with her mom, she's sent to her grandparents' village, where she's warmly welcomed. Her grandmother talks about old times, and as Shigang walks around the village, Shigang goes with her grandmother to pick vegetables and fruits. Her grandmother loves her very much and says that she is becoming more and more beautiful day by day. She tells her that she should now find herself a stunning boyfriend. Hearing this, Yusun's face appears in front of Shigang's eyes, the way he had proposed to her. She feels shy and says, "Leave these talks." On the other side, Yusun is shown talking to his mom on the phone. His mother lives abroad, and they are making plans to meet during Chinese New Year. In short, Shigang has a lot of fun with her grandparents. She eats traditional food and sits chatting with them. Her grandmother has always liked Shigang's mother, and even today she scolds her son, saying he shouldn't have divorced like that. She also says that Shigang's mom was unlucky to marry her son, and she adds that whenever Shigang likes a boy and wants to know whether he is Mr. Right or not, she should bring him to her. She can judge in one glance. She proudly says how she kept Shigong's grandfather tied to her for their whole life. While returning, they send some fruits and vegetables for Shigong's mom. Then the holidays end, and Shigong's usual life starts again. She comes back to the Saseo office, but she feels very embarrassed, afraid that she will have to face Yusun. Whenever she sees him, she either tries to hide behind someone or avoids eye contact. It's snowing, so they have to clean the solar panels. When Yusun stands beside her, she cleans very fast and moves ahead to stay away from him. At that point, Yusun realizes that she is avoiding him. Later, there is a meeting where they plan which tasks need to be completed before the Chinese New Year holidays. In the end, they get good news. The miserable food in their cafe area will no longer trouble them because the contractors are being changed through fair competition. Everyone is happy. But Jinji becomes suspicious and asks Shigong what is going on between her and Yusun. Since the wedding, she has noticed something is off. Shigong either runs away or hands over files to Jinji for signatures whenever she sees him. Why doesn't she meet his eyes? Shigong doesn't answer, and just then she gets a call from Dr. Feng, who asks her to meet him. At dinner, Dr. Feng tells her many things. He says Yusun has changed a lot. He had asked Yusun to help with his thesis, but Yusun kept making excuses. He says he will now expose all of Yusun's secrets. When Yusun was in the hospital, he used to come on excuses just to see Shigong. He lied about meals so that he could eat with her and even included others just to be near her. Not only that, when Shigong attended a friend's wedding, Yusun hadn't even invited her. He forcibly added her name to the invitation card with his. But what is the use of all this now? In front of Shigong, Yusun had already confessed his love. After hearing all this, Shigong becomes sure that Yusun has liked her for a long time and had been secretly pursuing her. In the end, Dr. Feng says he must get his thesis reviewed, so Shigong will have to do him a favor. He apologizes and says he won't drop her back. He has called Yusun to do it. He has already arranged a meeting point. Yusun arrives there, and Shigong feels very shy. She speaks only a few words with great difficulty. Yusun says, "Thank God, you finally spoke. Otherwise, I thought proposing to you was a mistake because you weren't even being my friend or talking to me." Seeing her embarrassment, he says he intentionally stayed away, going on site visits or giving tasks to others. While walking, he apologizes again, saying he feels he disturbed her and caused her discomfort, and that he feels very bad about it. This brings back Shigong's old memories. After she had proposed to Zhuang Shu, she had felt very embarrassed and had sent a similar message, which never got a reply. She thinks that the pain she once went through is what Yusun is feeling now. She realizes she is not that kind of person and tells him there is no need to feel ashamed. He expressed his feelings honestly, and he should stand by them. She promises that she will not avoid him. Yusun is happy to hear this and suggests doing late-night overtime and takes her on a site visit. At Yoni's factory expansion plant, he asks for her suggestions, saying half the shares are hers too. She thinks for a while and gives advice. He immediately acts like a boss and orders that the work be completed by tomorrow. She is shocked. Sometimes he makes her the boss, and sometimes he treats her like his employee. Shigong starts working on it. She has been under a lot of workload lately. A senior then announces that there will be a food tasting competition to select cafe contractors. Many contractors will apply. 2 people from each department will go, and votes will be counted after tasting. The selection will be through a lucky draw. Only 2 slips have foodie written on them. Yusun arrives and asks to be included. In the end, only Yusun and Shigong remain. Shigong opens her slip, it's blank. But before that, Yusun congratulates her, saying his slip is blank. Actually, Yusun had won, but he gives his victory to Shigong for her happiness. Shigong blushes. She goes to taste food with a colleague. Many people are there, and all votes will be counted. Yusun, being the boss, joins them. He says they'll split the votes. They eat happily. The vendor Shigong votes for loses and she looks sad. Yusun says he can't see her sad and promises to take her every day to that chef's restaurant and make her taste the entire menu. She becomes very happy. Soon, long lines form at the cafe because the food is now delicious. Jinji asks Shigong why she disappears every evening. Shigong can't tell her that she goes out with Yusun. Meanwhile, Chinese New Year preparations are ongoing, with gifts for employees. At the same time, they are busy expanding the project and will soon travel to another city to visit a supplier's factory. Shigong and Yusun meet often and have dinners together, but she avoids him in public. After one meeting, Yusun stops her and says he is holding back only because of her. Otherwise, he would proudly declare his love openly. There are no rules against dating in their company. He wants to announce it to the world but steps back because she is shy. Jinji arrives, later pulls Shigong aside, and asks her honestly if Yusun likes her and has proposed. Shigong reflects that love is a cherished emotion. She had once loved openly and faced gossip, yet she is proud of it. She decides she won't break his heart and admits that yes, he proposed, but she hasn't answered yet. That night, Shigong messages Yusun. After reading it, he immediately calls her. She tells him that after thinking carefully, if he wants to pursue her openly and express his love to the world, she has no objection. He should try. Those who try don't lose. Maybe one day he will win her heart. Yusun is very happy and says that she will go with him on the business trip as his assistant. They fly to another city with 2 colleagues, visit the factory, and have a good meeting with the supplier. The supplier is happy to hear that Mr. Mo has been removed from the department, as he had blocked suppliers earlier. On the way back, they discuss work in the van. Shigong asks about a new app he forgot to tell her about, and their colleagues notice how they talk like a couple. At the hotel, they share rooms, ladies and gents separately. Each room gets a free spa voucher. Shigong's colleague Miss Chan suggests using the boys and used voucher. She messages Yusin. His roommate doesn't want to go, so Yusin tells her not to waste it and suggests she go with him. The others go to the spa, while Shigong and Yusin enjoy the night market. Shigong's phone has issues, so she buys a new one. The salesgirl suggests a pink phone matching her boyfriend's. She buys it. As soon as she installs an app, the first friend request is from Yusin. He says he wanted to create some history with her new phone. She brings a cake as a gift for Miss Chan. Miss Chan says it's obvious they're dating and warns her to be careful. She shares her own experience of being humiliated due to jealousy at her previous workplace. Shigong relates to this, remembering how she was also humiliated because of her love life. She assures Miss Chan and suggests that there should be policies to protect people from such humiliation. Miss Chan jokes that Shigong sounds like her boss, unaware that Shigong owns 50% of the company. Shigong says that if someone wants to express love openly, they shouldn't be stopped. After talking for a while, she realizes what she's saying and clarifies that she is not actually in a relationship with Yusin. He is only pursuing her. But Miss Chan doesn't believe her. Everyone having a really successful business trip, and their return flight was scheduled for the afternoon after breakfast. But Yusan tells Shigong that since Miss Chan already seems to have some idea about them, it's better not to make up excuses. When they arrive, he tells them that while they are returning today, he and Shigong are not. He explains that he found out Shigong is afraid of flying, so they will travel by train instead. However, the train journey is very long and will take almost 2 days. In fact, he wants to explore this place alone with Shigong. She replies that she will definitely take the flight because she can't tolerate such a long train journey. But she agrees to stay for today and enjoy together, on one condition. He has to carry her handbag and pay all the food bills. After that, they go shopping. She buys some phone cases, and Yusin also likes one cover, though it's quite quirky and doesn't suit a boss at all. He says that since he's on vacation, he'll use it just for these 2 days. Shigong then needs some help for one of her projects. So she visits a garden where the staff explains the concept to her. She plans to implement a similar idea in her own plant. While taking notes from her bag, one employee is shocked and asks why her boss is carrying her handbag. Shigong calmly replies that she is the head of this project, so in a way, she is the boss here. After they leave, the man's colleague points out how obvious it was that Mr. Lin Yusin was carrying her bag. The man dismisses it, saying Yusin is just a nice boss. He even shares an incident where his own boss once carried his bag during a visit. Basically, he was completely clueless. Later, Yusin and Shigong explore all the city's specialties, enjoy amazing local food, traditional dishes, and visit night markets. Yusin insists on taking lots of Shigong's photos. Everyone is surprised by his quirky phone cover, which actually matches Shigong's bag. During their conversation, Shigong talks about her childhood. She says she was very mischievous and spent most of her childhood in the village with her grandparents because her parents were busy expanding their business. After spending a lot of time together, they return to the hotel. Shigong says she will sleep until noon the next day and then catch the night flight. She really enjoyed spending the day with Yusin. Later, she receives a message from him saying he'll wake up early and that she should rest well. He mentions he prepared a small surprise but isn't sure if it will be useful. He had visited all the places they couldn't cover together and collected traditional snacks and gifts for her friends. He tells her that since she's afraid of flying, the food might distract her during the flight and help her feel better. During the journey, when there is slight turbulence, she gets scared and holds his hand. He calms her down and distracts her by giving her favorite food. He also tells her to give the gifts to her friends, joking that to win her heart, he must first win her friends' hearts. On the way back, they stop in Shanghai. Shigong wants to revisit the same temple where she once wished for Yusin to disappear. This time, she apologizes for making the wrong wish and prays that he always stays happy, safe, and never disappears from her life, but remains close to her. When she comes out, Yusin asks what important wish she made. She replies that wishes don't come true if you tell them. On the other side, a bank scene is shown. They were planning to invest in a company that Chris strongly recommended. However, a few days later, that company collapses. They were saved from losses because Jiangshu analyzed the risks and advised against investing. Chris realizes that Jiangshu is truly capable and apologizes for misunderstanding him. Their constant fights finally turn into peace, and she suggests celebrating their new friendship with dinner. All 6 colleagues go out together for dinner and drinks. Su can't take her eyes off Jiangshu, finding him the most handsome and capable. He receives a call and says he'll be late, asking the caller to sleep first. Everyone assumes it's his girlfriend, but he clarifies that he's single and it was his brother who came to Shanghai to meet him. When Jiangshu gets home, he's drunk as usual. This habit stems from the pain of being rejected by Shigong. He sees an old graduation photo and talks to it, asking if she would care for him if she were in Shanghai, worry about his drinking and call him. At first, it seems strange, but then it becomes clear he's talking to Shigong's photo. Meanwhile, Shigong prepares a proposal for her project. During a meeting involving finance and technical departments, It's revealed that Young Chong Company holds half the shares but hasn't released the payment yet. If this continues, they'll have to send a legal notice. Shiguang feels upset because her father wants to withdraw from the company, believing it's not profitable anymore. Others don't know that she is Mr. Ni Young Chang's daughter. Later, Rui Qi calls Shiguang to plan a New Year trip. They decide to go skiing at Changbai Mountain during Chinese New Year. Everyone is excited, discussing accommodations and plans in the group chat. Zhuangshu's brother Zhuangfei is also part of the group and learns about the destination. When Zhuangshu returns from work, his brother suggests going somewhere nice for Chinese New Year since they have enough money now. He proposes Changbai Mountain because their mother loves snowfall. Slowly, Shiguang's family plan turns into Zhuangshu's family plan as well. The plan spreads like a virus and even reaches the bank colleagues. Some suggest Japan, others Thailand, but they've already been there many times. When Zhuangshu mentions Changbai Mountain, everyone agrees to go there together with families and colleagues. Meanwhile, Shiguang's company is busy preparing for the year-end festival. While decorating a restaurant venue, Shiguang's friend Yu accidentally bumps into a man who scolds her and demands compensation for his damaged jacket. Shiguang steps in and suggests checking the cameras. That's when she notices a girl named Nian. They know each other but not on good terms, so they stay silent. The issue is settled by friends. Later, it's revealed that Nian is the daughter of Qian, Mr. Ni's first love from the village. Qian was the reason behind Shiguang's parents' divorce. She appears innocent in front of Mr. Ni but is actually very cunning, securing benefits for herself and her daughter. Behind the scenes, the mother-daughter duo plots carefully, advising Nian to stay quiet around Shiguang to remain in Mr. Ni's good books. This raises suspicion that Nian might be the blind date mentioned earlier with Dr. Yusun. Shiguang later meets Yusun and tells him about the mishap. He praises her for handling it well and calls her very capable. She jokingly complains that whenever he praises her, he assigns overtime, and she doesn't want that, she wants holidays. As they look at decoration preparations on her phone, they grow closer. Finally, the festival day arrives. The company has arranged grand prizes, paid leaves, and lucky draws. Everyone is excited, but Shiguang and her friends win nothing except some small vouchers. They feel disappointed, joking that Yusun didn't even draw their names. As they leave, Yusun offers them a ride. Jingjing and her friend refuse, saying they ate too much and want to walk, deliberately leaving Yusun and Shiguang alone. He says he tried hard to get her name drawn, but luck wasn't on her side. They decide to walk together. Shiguang talks about a similar place in her hometown and invites him to visit next New Year. She mentions their plan to go to Changbai Mountain and asks if he has ever skied. He says he's done skiing and snowboarding before because his mother lived in Switzerland, where they used to spend Chinese New Year. His father passed away years ago, and his mother now has a new family. Standing together under the moonlight, Yusun confesses that he has always rushed through life, achieving everything too quickly, even becoming a doctor early. But there's one thing he enjoys doing slowly, spending time with her, getting to know her little by little. It's the most pleasant feeling in his life right now. They say goodbye, knowing they won't meet again until after the holidays. Shiguang first goes to spend a day with her grandparents, then plans to go skiing with her mother's family. Her father is supposed to come too, but it turns out he's bringing Aunt Qian and her daughter along. Hearing their voices on the phone, Shiguang's mother gets angry and says there's no need for him to come. They start eating without waiting for him. It's revealed that her mother always opposed Mr. Ni marrying Qian, believing Qian was cunning and that both mother and daughter were the same. The grandmother was fine with it, but Mr. Ni was blinded by love. Despite many years of marriage, his first love resurfaced, and he started circling around Qian again. Eventually, he apologizes and tries to make things right. Since it's Chinese New Year, her mother forgives him and allows him to eat. He tells Shiguang that he doesn't like the company she works at and wants her to quit and come back. When he learns she's going to Changbai Mountain with her mother, he's shocked. So now Mr. Ni was getting upset because Shiguang was spending more time with her mom, and this time, even on New Year's, she was going on an outing with her mom and her family. But here, Grandma takes Shiguang's side and scolds her son, saying that because of his divorce, the poor girl keeps running back and forth, sometimes trying to please her father's family and sometimes her mother's. She tells him that he has no right to scold her because all of this is happening because of him. After that, Zhang Rui arrives. He also meets Grandma and then leaves with his cousin. Shiguang's grandparents are extremely sweet, but her dad, Mr. Ni, once got annoyed with Zhang Rui because while greeting him, Zhang Rui accidentally called him ex-uncle instead of uncle. Soon, New Year's Eve arrives. Everyone eats together and watches the fireworks. Shiguang looks especially happy this year, of course, because the very first New Year message she received was from Yusun. On the other side, Yusun is with his mom. She has recently come to China and notices that there's an extra smile on his face. She teases him for constantly checking his phone and says that something is definitely going on. There must be a girl entering his life. She asks when he'll introduce her. Yusun replies that it's not the right time yet because even he isn't fully clear. While sitting there, an idea suddenly comes to his mind. Why not go to Changbai Mountain and surprise Shiguang? Meanwhile, Shiguang and her family have already reached their destination. They had planned everything in advance, booked a villa long ago, and even hired a tour guide. They start discussing their skiing plans. Zhang Rui keeps teasing her, saying that when she skis, She looks like a crab and looks miserable. As usual, the siblings keep bickering. He notices that Shurgang keeps smiling while looking at her phone. He comes closer, pretending to be sweet, and says that he even gave her a window seat. In reality, he's just trying to find out who she's talking to. Soon, they reach the villa. With all their luggage, Shurgang stands outside and takes a photo in front of the villa, covering part of her face. She sends this photo to Yusun, saying that she has arrived. Seeing the photo, Yusun realizes she has basically sent him her exact coordinates, making it very easy for him to find her resort. The next day, they go out for activities. They realize that only Jiang Rui actually knows how to ski. Everyone else is a complete beginner, so he has to drag and guide them. Later, they go shopping and have lots of fun. Since they plan to go skiing the next day, they decide to do some shopping beforehand. Jiang Rui takes Shurgang along, and they buy her clothes and shoes at the main shop. At the same time, Jiang Shu arrives at the same shop with his colleagues, and he runs into Jiang Rui and Shurgang. Shurgang pretends not to recognize him, but Jiang Shu openly says in front of his colleagues that Jiang Rui is his student's cousin and that he used to be his tutor. Jiang Rui knows that Shurgang doesn't get along well with him, and seeing Jiang Shu makes old feelings resurface. Jiang Rui deliberately keeps blocking Shurgang's view, so she doesn't have to face him. Seeing Jiang Shu reminds Jiang Rui of the time when he returned from Europe and was told by the maid that his tutor had come looking for him while he was away on a study tour. It's unclear why Jiang Shu came that day, but it's known that he had come drenched in rain. Jiang Rui worries that Shurgang's mood might get ruined, so he tries to cheer her up by taking her out for street food and helping her practice skiing, which she's really bad at. Coincidentally, Jiang Shu and his friends are also there practicing. One of his friends, Chris, suggests that Shurgang take their group photo. This makes Shurgang uncomfortable, especially having to focus on Jiang Shu. Jiang Rui notices this, takes the phone from her, clicks a few photos himself, and then hands the phone to Jiang Shu to take their picture. While holding Shurgang's phone, a message from Lin pops up asking how her practice is going. Seeing this, Jiang Shu becomes sad and leaves immediately. He remembers the day he had gone searching for both Jiang Rui and Shurgang, only to find out that Shurgang had already gone abroad. He had assumed it was for higher studies. Although Jiang Shu thought his wounds had healed, seeing Shurgang brings all the pain back. He starts drinking heavily. During a game with friends, he's asked whether he has ever dated or liked someone. He says he's never dated, and when asked if he likes someone, he chooses to drink instead of answering. Later, Chris approaches him privately and tells him that as a girl, she can sense that he likes his student's cousin. She encourages him to confess, but he says it's too late. Now that he's finally worthy, she already has a boyfriend and is happy. From a distance, he watches Shurgang, knowing he can only admire her like the moon, visible but unattainable. It's then revealed that everything was Zhang Fei's plan. She deliberately arranged the Changbai mountain trip and pretended to be sick at the last moment, staying behind with her mom while sending Jiang Shu there instead. The next day, Jiang Rui complains that everyone is useless at skiing and wishes they had another instructor. That night, while Shurgang is getting ready to sleep, she receives a message from Yusun, a photo taken outside her villa. She rushes out and finds him standing there, having made a snowman that looks exactly like the one in her photo. She's overjoyed to see him. Suddenly, Jiang Rui shows up and asks who she's meeting so late at night. Panicking, Shurgang lies and says she found an extra instructor. Yusun plays along, asking what time he should come the next day, and she says 9 a.m., realizing he'll be sticking around all day. Yusun's mom becomes suspicious and asks who he went to meet, insisting on meeting the girl. The next morning, Yusun waits outside their place. Everyone is happy to see that they now have 2 instructors, especially since one of them is extremely handsome. Shurgang claims she hired him online. At the ski spot, Shurgang cleverly says she's the worst skier and needs a separate instructor, taking Yusun with her while leaving the others with Jiang Rui. Yusun trains her patiently. At one point, someone cuts across her path. She panics, loses balance, and falls straight into Yusun's open arms. Jiang Shu and his colleagues see the scene, which pierces his heart. Later, Yusun ends up having dinner with Shurgang's entire family. When questioned about where he's from and where he works, Shurgang keeps distracting everyone to avoid him answering. Suddenly, Yusun's mom appears at the same restaurant and dramatically exposes him as not being an instructor at all. Cornered, Yusun finally admits that he's actually Shurgang's boss and that they work at the same company. As things settle, Shurgang's mom recognizes Yusun's mom. They had met long ago. Later, the family interrogates Shurgang about her feelings. She admits that Yusun likes her, and the aunt happily gives her approval. However, her uncle raises concerns about Yusun's family background and explains the tragic story of his father, who was framed, exiled, and later returned only as a dead body. The truth behind his death remains unknown. On the other side, Yusun's mom tells him that she really likes Shurgang and accepts her as a future daughter-in-law, encouraging him to win her heart. When Shurgang learns about Lin Yusun's parents' sad love story, she starts feeling really bad for Yusun. His mom and dad were already separated, but the one who suffered the most was Yusun himself. He spent his entire childhood without his parents. Some people even blamed his maternal grandfather, saying that because of him, Yusun's dad went abroad and later passed away there. Meanwhile, Shurgang talks to Yusun on the phone. She messages him teasingly, saying that he revealed his identity too soon, without even informing his employer. so now she won't pay him for his part-time job. Yusun jokes back, saying that if not money, she should at least give him some compensation. In response, she calls him outside her house. When he arrives, she comes out to meet him and says they'll go together to feed a deer. She also has a surprise planned for him. They run into a deer on the way and feed it. Shigong really enjoys the moment and then tells him she brought something special for him. Fireworks that Zhang Rui had ordered for himself, but she secretly took them. They watch the fireworks together and have a great time. She tells him that fireworks are usually an ordinary thing, but they become special because she's standing with him and brought them especially for him. Yusun keeps one firework with himself as a keepsake, saying he'll treasure it as her memory. At home, Zhang Rui finds out that Shigong is missing. He messages her, saying she must have gone out with her boss again, and if her boss is really that capable, he wants to challenge him. Shigong shows this message to Yusun. Yusun sends back a voice note confidently accepting the challenge. They decide to have a skiing race the next day, the Shigong Cup. Yusun, as usual, makes a small snowman for Shigong. When she sees it while skiing, she becomes very happy. He tells her that he'll make something like this for her every day. The next morning arrives. The kids head out for their own missions, while Shigong's mom says she has a meeting planned with Yusun's mom. They'll eat together, have tea, and talk heart to heart. Shigong takes it very lightly, but the boys are extremely serious. They choose a hill point and decide to select the route by sitting in a cafe and looking at a map. Shigong tells them to continue their discussion while she goes outside to take some photos. At the same cafe, Jiang Shu's friends arrive, Chris and her friend Calvin. Zhang Rui doesn't know who's around. Since Shigong is outside, he tells Mr. Lin that if he loses the race, he must stop pursuing his sister. Yusun replies that he won't stop chasing her, and that personal matters shouldn't be brought into the race. Chris and Calvin overhear this and are surprised, thinking Shigong already had a boyfriend. Chris tells Calvin not to spread this information. Soon, the race begins. Shigong watches them from a viewpoint. Both guys are skilled, but of course the hero wins, Yusun. Zhang Rui feels embarrassed and says Yusun won because of his age advantage and because he himself hasn't practiced in 3 years. He pulls Shigong aside and questions why she's so happy about Yusun's victory, warning her that love doesn't suit her and that she'll end up heartbroken again like before. Shigong slaps him twice and sends him away. On the other side, the two moms are shown talking. Yusun's mom says she always thought Shigong's mom was more brilliant than her husband and asks why she quit business. Shigong's mom replies that after the divorce, she got half the fortune and now only does casual investments, enjoying her vacations. Shigong's mom is encouraged to take initiative again because her talent is being wasted. At night, Shigong consults her mom about a new office project. Her mom gives excellent advice, drawing from years of experience in construction and investments. Old memories surface, Mr. And I never valued his wife despite everyone saying she was the secret behind his success. He even scolded her privately for speaking too much in public, feeling undermined. Yusun has now been there for 3 days and makes yet another tiny snowman for Shigong. She starts collecting them and wishes she could ski as skillfully as Peony. She promises to train hard and reach stage 2 by the next day. Everyone plans to eat hot pot together in the evening. During practice, Calvin accidentally tells Jiang Shu that the guy chasing his student's cousin is very skilled. Jiang Shu realizes that Yusun isn't Shigong's boyfriend, just someone pursuing her. Before he can process this, an accident happens. Calvin falls badly and injures his head. Yusun rushes over, gives first aid, and immediately realizes Calvin needs a top hospital, not the local infirmary. He orders an ambulance and insists they reach the hospital within half an hour. When the staff learns he's a neurosurgeon, they ask him to accompany them due to staff shortages. Yusun agrees and tries calling Shigong, but her phone is off. He informs his mother instead, who reassures him. At the hospital, Yusun is reminded of his past as a brilliant surgeon, now unable to operate due to his injured, trembling hand. The scan reveals that surgery is urgently needed to remove a clot. The doctor asks Yusun to assist as backup, admitting he lacks experience. Yusun agrees and plays a crucial role in saving the patient. Meanwhile, Shigong finishes practice, realizes her phone battery died, and goes back to the restaurant to wait with Zhang Rui. Yusun doesn't show up. She overhears people talking about a skiing accident and panics, seeing a skateboard similar to Yusun's. Unable to reach anyone, she drives to the hospital, extremely anxious. By the time she arrives, the surgery is successful. She runs to Yusun, relieved to see him safe. Later, she learns from her mom that Yusun had time to inform her but didn't. This makes her angry. When Yusun comes out, she confronts him, saying he could have at least sent a message. She feels unimportant and hurt. In anger, she leaves in a taxi. At home, she ignores Yusun's repeated calls. Zhang Rui makes her instant noodles and points out that her reaction shows Yusun isn't just an ordinary person to her. He's special. He asks if she started liking him. Now Yusun had made up his mind that he would definitely convince Shigong. From there, he came straight back and arrived outside her villa. Zhang Rui and Shigong were both watching from the window. He had brought a lot of fireworks, clearly planning something to cheer her up, but she stayed inside. After that, Shigong received a message from Yusun. It was a screenshot through which she found out that Yusun had actually sent her a message earlier to inform her about everything. However, due to weak signal, that message had failed to send. After seeing this, Gang started feeling extremely guilty. She ran downstairs. Yusun said to her, "I'm so sorry. I was very busy, so I didn't make sure whether the message was delivered or not. But honestly, I was also being very selfish. Seeing you coming to me like this, longing for me, made me feel happy, as if I mattered a lot to you." Then he showed her what he had brought to cheer her up. She went inside to get a lighter. At that moment, Jiang Rui stopped her and said, "What is this? Your anger disappeared just by seeing a few fireworks." She told him that Yusun had sent her a message earlier but it wasn't delivered. Even then, Rui told her, "Play hard to get. Act angry about something. Don't agree so easily, or you'll look low and he'll look high." He told her to take the lighter and show more anger. But instead, she went outside and started lighting the fireworks with Yusun. They both enjoyed the fireworks a lot. While Jiang Rui stood there thinking about how crazy this girl was, Yusun had managed to win Gang back. But even so, the day was still quite sad for him. Whenever he went to the hospital, it reminded him of his past. Gang sensed this too, so she tried to cheer him up and said, "Today you saved a life. You gave a man a new life. I want to thank you for that. I'm proud of you." After that, they called Jiang Rui inside saying if he wanted to eat, he should come too. He immediately agreed, and they all sat together for dinner. Later, as soon as Jason reached home, he hugged his mother and said something definitely felt wrong. He said he always felt that girl didn't care about him. She had arranged a blind date for them years ago, but when he had an accident on the way, even after being informed, she never came to see him or ask how he was. But he felt Gang was not like that. The way she rushed to the hospital for him made him realize that they were two completely different personalities. After going to his room, he called his friend Yachi, who was abroad at the time, and told him to contact him as soon as he returned. He said he had something very important to discuss. This was the same friend who had arranged the blind date years ago with Mr. Ni's daughter. On the other side, we see Zhuangshu and his colleagues. Zhuangshu decided to stay there with Kelvin until he was transferred back to Shanghai. Meanwhile, it looked like Chris was slowly starting to fall for Zhuangshu. Initially because of his looks and abilities, but now because she felt he was kind-hearted, a quality that had become rare these days. Zhuangshu's own heart was in turmoil. Ever since he found out that Gang didn't actually have a boyfriend and that Yusun was chasing her, he had been feeling confused and nervous. He wanted to meet Gang at least once and try his luck again, because she was still single. He picked up an umbrella and went to her villa. He stood outside for a long time, wanting to message her and ask if there really was something between her and Yusun, but he didn't have the courage. After standing in the snow for a long time, he returned, lost in memories. He remembered a time when he used to be Jiang Rui's tutor, and the maid wasn't home. He had cooked for Jiang Rui and Gang had been very happy watching him cook. She had always been warm toward him, but he had remained cold because of misunderstandings, mostly created by Rome, who had brainwashed him into thinking Gang was a proud, spoiled rich girl who only wanted to buy and win him over. But now it was too late. The next day, both families gathered and went on an outing together. They took group photos, and the aunt was very happy seeing how well-matched Gang's boyfriend was. That day, Yusun's family was leaving, while Gang's family planned to leave the next day. Before leaving, Yusun's mother took Gang's phone number and said that whatever was between the two of them was separate, but she really liked Gang and would definitely stay in contact. She also invited Gang to bring her mother to Switzerland someday. Before leaving, Yusun visited the hospital once more to see Kelvin, where he ran into Zhuangshu again. When Zhuangshu heard that Yusun was listening to a voice note from Gang, his heart hurt even more. This was something he had lost and probably could never get back. Gang really wanted to take the tiny snowman with her, but since she couldn't, she took photos and saved videos instead. She told Yusun about it, and he said, "What's the point of taking them when the artist who made them wants to go with you?" Hearing this, she blushed. Yusun then went straight to meet his grandfather. The grandfather had learned that his daughter had returned to China after many years and had already left again. He asked how many years it had been, what she looked like, and whether she was happy. Yusun told him she was doing fine and was as beautiful as ever. Slowly, the grandfather realized the truth, that his son and daughter-in-law had hated their daughter and son-in-law and had plotted against them. Back then, without evidence, he had taken action against his son-in-law, and now he deeply regretted it. After that, we see Bukai, Yusun's uncle. Bukai and his wife were planning a grand celebration for the grandfather's anniversary next month. Everyone believed Bukai's son, Yusun's cousin, would be announced as the next heir. Bukai was the main culprit who had framed Yusun's father. Bukai then went to meet Mr. Anai, with whom he had a close friendship. This became a red flag in Yusun and Gang's relationship, because Mr. Anai would never like Yusun. During their conversation, Mr. Anai mentioned hearing about a new GM in Suzhou who had made many changes and cut ties with familiar suppliers. He found this suspicious. Through Bukai, he learned that this GM was Bukai's nephew and the chairman was his grandfather. This made Mr. Anai uneasy, so he ordered his men to investigate Yusun's background, personal and professional. We are then shown Jian, a woman who had cleverly manipulated Mr. Anai and even tied her daughter Nian to him. She shopped excessively but pretended everything was bought for him, keeping Nian close to high society. Mr. Anai was completely fooled by her. Soon, everyone returned to work after the holidays. Gang was working wholeheartedly on a new project and often asked Yusun to arrange meetings quickly, which he always did without hesitation. One day, she visited Yusun's house to look for some study books. There, she noticed soybeans on his table and joked about them, only to find out they were part of his rehabilitation exercises. He talked about the pain he used to feel, though it was much better now. Overwhelmed with emotion, she held his hand. In that moment, Yusun forgot all his pain. Later, Gang felt embarrassed. They were busy all week, but planned to meet on the weekend. Yusun said he wanted to treat Gang and her friends as compensation for his bad luck. At the same time, Mr. Ni received Yusun's investigation report. He found out Yusun had requested his own transfer and that rumors of an office romance were circulating. He had transferred a girl with the surname Ni to his department and was pursuing her. Mr. Ni became furious. He immediately called his daughter and ordered her to meet him that weekend. When she refused, saying she had dinner plans with friends, he grew more suspicious and said he would come himself. He arrived early Saturday morning and confronted her about rumors of her boss Yusun pursuing her. He ordered her to reject him and quit the company, even snatching her phone and reading Yusun's dinner message. This made Gang furious. She told her father that every time he came, all he did was fight with her, and reminded him that her legal custody was with her mother. Mr. Ni then claimed he was only worried because she was his only child and extremely wealthy, and anyone close to her could be greedy. But she couldn't believe these things about Yusun. Mr. Ni insisted Yusun wasn't the real heir and accused him of chasing Yen years ago, and even arranging a blind date before his accident. Hearing all this, Gang rushed straight to Yusun's house and asked him if he knew Yen. Confused, Yusun denied it and reminded her of their first meeting at a party, where she herself had arranged a blind date because she liked him. Gang denied remembering any of this. Shocked, Yusun called his friend and drove Gang to his city to confirm the truth. The friend recalled that Mr. Ni's daughter had asked him to arrange the blind date, but after Yusun's accident, she never even checked on him. Later, he realized that girl was Nyen, not Gang. The friend apologized, ashamed of his mistake. Gang understood everything. Yusun sat silently in the car, ashamed of having misunderstood her for years. He apologized, dropped her off at her hostel, and left, saying he needed some time alone. Now Gang calls her dad. But her dad is so self-centered that before listening to even a single word from her, he starts giving his own speech. He says that he knows she must have run to meet Yusun, and of course she wouldn't have any explanation for this kind of thing. He asks her if she has realized it now, saying that he was right all along. The world is full of crocodiles. It's a cruel place, and she is too innocent. He tells her not to waste even a minute, to break up with him immediately, and not to let him cross any line. But Gang asks her dad if he even knows what Nyen said to call Yusun for the meeting. Nyen claimed that she was Mr. Ni's daughter. She pretended that Gang had called him, and that's why he went to meet her. Gang admits that her dad was right about the world being cruel and full of crocodiles, but says that the fool here isn't her, it's him. Then we see a flashback. At that time, Nyen had actually gone to Mr. Ni and told him everything. She said that Yusun was a boy she met at a party, that he was interested in her, and that he was supposed to come meet her, but he got into an accident on the way. She said she was worried and couldn't go see him, and asked if there would be any problems since he was related to the Sheng family. Mr. Ni replied that if he was coming to meet her, then it was his own fault and she wasn't responsible. He said he would look into it. Later, he found out that the boy survived, and he didn't really care much anyway because his surname wasn't Shang but Lin. However, what he didn't know was that Nyen had twisted the story. She never mentioned that she had called Yusun pretending to be his daughter, not that Yusun was interested in her. Mr. Ni becomes extremely angry and rushes to the villa he had given to his mistress. Chen immediately starts acting pious, pretending to pray for him. But in his rage, he calls Nyen out and is about to raise his hand at her. He demands the truth. Did she call Yusun pretending to be his daughter? Did she ruin Shigong's reputation and bring shame to him as well? He is furious, and then his health suddenly worsens. That's when Aunt Jian's acting begins. She starts crying and says that he is her only support in this world and begs him to take care of himself. As for Nyen, she says the girl never got a good father or a proper family, which is why she turned out this way. If she had a father like him, her character would have been much better. She knows exactly how to exploit Mr. Ni's weakness and manipulate him. She calms him down and sends him away. Later, Nyen tells her mom that it would have been so nice if she had married him instead of her dad. Then she would have been his real daughter, and her status would have been completely different. Aunt Jian replies that she would never have married Nyen's father. Back then, he had nothing, he was like a beggar. She dumped him. Mr. Ni, on the other hand, had an apartment in the city and a good job, so she saw a more secure future with him. She also says that Mr. Ni himself was nothing. It was his wife who made him what he became, and after building him up, that foolish woman just left him and handed him over to her. In reality, Nyen's father had already died, and Chen was pretending to have a terminal illness. Using medical bills as an excuse, she took large amounts of money from Mr. Ni. She used it to raise her daughter, take her shopping, and also sent her to parties with Mr. Ni so she could build connections and network with powerful people. Later, Mr. Ni feels deeply ashamed and transfers a large amount of money to his ex-wife's account, telling her to give it to Gang as pocket money since she's grown up now. But Shurgang doesn't tell her mother anything, because if Nian and Qian came up, her mom would get upset. The next day, Shurgang goes to the office, but Yusun isn't there. After a while, she finds out that he's gone on a business trip and won't be around for a few days. After everything that happened, he feels guilty for taking his anger out on her and for misunderstanding her from the start. Now he can't even meet her eyes, which is why he left on the trip. He travels to desert areas to study the solar energy market and future prospects. He also visits several cities and checks their potential. At the hotel where he stays, he finds some postcards. He keeps them, writes the date and place on them, and also writes a letter to Shurgang, explaining everything honestly. In the letter, he tells her where they first met, at a party where she had come, and he had also arrived with his grandfather, who had forced him to attend. At that time, Yusun was a successful surgeon and had no interest in business. At that party, he saw the way Shurgang spoke up for herself and took a stand, and that's when he fell for her. There was also a mutual friend named Jiaqi, who had recently returned from the USA. Jiaqi knew Yusun there by the name Vincent. Yusun writes all of this in the letter and also confesses his feelings before mailing it. Meanwhile, Shurgang notices that an entire week has passed with no news from him. She plans to visit her mother that weekend, but before the day ends, she receives the letter. She's excited to read what Yusun has written. On the bus, she opens the letter and reads it, thinking about how many times he must have passed through the same route, and how painful it must have been for him, especially the spot where the accident happened that ended his career as a surgeon. As she reads, she remembers the party mentioned in the letter. It was hosted by a famous personality named Miss Yu, who had actually invited Shurgang's mother. Since her mother couldn't attend, she asked Shurgang to go and represent her. Shurgang went, met Aunt Yu, and conveyed best wishes. She planned to leave after half an hour, but then she saw her dad there, proudly introducing Nian as his daughter. She felt angry that he hadn't even thought of inviting her but was flaunting this girl instead. A man sitting behind her starts gossiping, saying that Mr. Ni's wife had gone beyond her status, so he reminded her of her place. He adds that a woman's proper place is at home, taking care of her husband and children, and puts all the blame on Shurgang's mother. Hearing this, Shurgang gets furious. She sees the man handing his business card to her dad, trying to gain favors and contracts. She steps in, grabs the card, and publicly insults him, asking who he thinks he is to talk about her family matters. She says he pretended to know her parents closely, but in reality he's nothing. She adds that since his words are so cheap, his products must be just as low quality. She damages his business reputation and even questions Miss Yu about inviting such people who have no respect for women. Her bold stand attracts everyone's attention, and she completely destroys that man's business within minutes. This fearless honesty is what made Yusun fall for her. He writes that although she left the party soon after, Jiaqi introduced her to a few friends, one of whom was him. She probably doesn't even remember him, but from that moment on, his life started revolving around her. When he later heard that Mr. Ni's daughter had invited him on a blind date, he rushed there immediately. But when no one showed up, he developed negative feelings about her, only to realize later that she was never the one who invited him. After reading the letter, Shurgang reaches home and calls Yusun. Feeling a bit awkward, she compliments the postcards and asks when he's coming back. He says he planned to return earlier, but couldn't get a flight and will now come by train, reaching the next morning from Beijing. She tells him that the Shanghai train passes through Wuxi and asks him to stop there. He warns her to think carefully because he won't refuse. The next morning, Shurgang is very excited. She wakes up early, has a light breakfast, buys traditional food for him, and goes to the station. She's nervous, embarrassed, and unsure where to stand. When Yusun gets off the train, she quietly follows him. He senses something, turns around, and is surprised to see her. He reveals that although he told her a 9 a.m. arrival time, the train actually arrived at 7 a.m. She says she checked online and accuses him of doing it on purpose so she wouldn't have to wake up too early. He admits he was afraid that if he told her 7 a.m., she'd tell him to go straight home. He says he'd rather wait 2 hours just to see her. They sit together for breakfast at a Western restaurant, and he loves the food she brought. She tells him Wuxi may be small compared to Shanghai, but it still has beautiful spots. He says he's always wanted to see plum blossoms with her, the same place where he was once invited on a blind date. Hearing this, she blushes and takes him there. They walk, enjoy the blossoms, and he admits he went on the business trip because he didn't know how to face her after years of misunderstanding and blaming her. He recalls how she once wished he had come into her life earlier and asks when she met her first love. In truth, it was right after that party. He realizes that he had actually entered her life first, but regrets the cruel twists of fate. She tells him that it doesn't matter when they met, what matters is that they're together now. He's happy but asks her not to decide out of guilt. She assures him that it's not guilt. She wants a pure office romance because he truly pursued her and won her over. She directly asks if he wants to be her boyfriend. Hearing this, he hugs her tightly. They officially become boyfriend and girlfriend. On the way back, he asks to drive, joking that she might take a wrong turn. She suggests going back to the plum blossom garden, but he replies that after seeing her, no plum garden in the world could ever be more beautiful. And here is this part ends. Stay tuned for the last part. Thanks for watching everyone. Yongshu and his colleagues come to the hospital to see Calvin. His mom is there, and she keeps asking repeatedly if anyone has Dr. Lin's contact number. The one who gave first aid to her son, diagnosed him at the right time, and saved his life. She says she is very thankful to him. Along with this, there is another shocking piece of news. Although Calvin is completely fine now, he has no memory at all of the short time period when he had gone to Chabai Mountain for his vacation. He has developed amnesia for that specific time period. Now Jushu asks him privately, "Don't you remember anything? Who was Yusin that day? And what you told me that he was pursuing my student's cousin, how did you know that? Was it true?" But Calvin replies, "What are you talking about?" Outside, Chris overhears this and realizes that Sungshu now knows that Yusin and Shiguang are not actually boyfriend and girlfriend. She gets worried that he might try to pursue her. On the other hand, our main couple is very happy. As soon as Shiguang gets a call from her mom says that she knows Shiguang is with Mr. Lin. She says she could clearly tell how excited her daughter was and that someone has made her heart flutter. Shiguang first shares the news with her mom and says that she accepted his love today, and now they are officially dating. Hearing this, her mom becomes very happy and says she had already thought that they were dating for a long time because their chemistry was so strong. After that, the two of them spend the entire day together, going out, spending time and having dinner. He also talks to his friend, Dr. Feng. As soon as Feng hears this, he is shocked that finally there is a girl in his friend's life too. He asks him why he didn't call his mom. He replies that his mom would be very excited to hear this, but since it's nighttime in Switzerland right now, he will call her as soon as she wakes up in the morning. Well, their first date was about to end, and after that, from the next day, Yusin had to go back to Suzhou. Shiguang goes to the station to drop Yusin and asks him if he will come with her to a seminar tomorrow. He agrees. She tells him that since she is dropping him off now, tomorrow afternoon he should come to Suzhou to pick her up from the train station. Before getting off at the station, Yusin extends his hand toward her. She asks what it is, some kind of goodbye handshake? But he says not at all. He wants her to write her name on his hand. He says her signature will be there, and he will always belong to her. The scene is very romantic. She lovingly writes her name on his hand, and now he officially belongs to her for his entire life. After this, Shiguang returns home. Her mom is very happy and says that she wishes love brings a lot of luck into her life and that she does not have bad luck in love like her own. Before sleeping, the two of them chat. Yusin says goodnight and tells her that from now on he will send her good morning and good night messages every day. He says he is very happy that now he officially has the right to do this. Earlier, he could only think it in his heart. The next day, they go to attend a seminar by a professor at a university. Shiguang tells Yusin to ditch his corporate look and dress like a student. He even gets a new hairstyle, which Shiguang finds very funny. She keeps laughing and teasing him, then fixes his hair herself. At the seminar, when there are no seats available, Yusin spreads his jacket on the stairs for her to sit and keeps her beside him. Later, they go to the university cafe for lunch. Seeing Yusin's looks, some girls start saying that maybe a new professor has joined, and if so, he is extremely handsome. Hearing this, Shiguang feels very happy that her boyfriend looks so hot. Finally, the weekend ends on a very good note, and from the next day, everyone gets back to work. Jinji comes and asks Shiguang why she is smiling extra today. Shiguang tells her that she and Yusin are officially boyfriend and girlfriend now. Jinji becomes very happy and says that now the treat is confirmed, and of course they are going to take the treat from Yusin. After that, we see how Yusin works extra hard and understands things in a way no one else does. Ever since he took charge in Suzhou, he has changed a lot. He works closely with suppliers and creates win-win situations that surprise everyone. Because of all this, he quickly becomes well known in his business circle. Today, he takes her friends out for a treat. They ask him whether he is sitting there as their boss or as their friend's boyfriend. He replies that he is her boyfriend and tells them to order whatever they want without hesitation. On the way back, the girls get off early and tell the couple to enjoy their time together. Yusin takes out an umbrella and goes with Shiguang to drop her at her hostel. At the same time, Yusin feels a little sad because he has to go on a business trip. Once again, they won't be able to see each other for a few days. Before leaving, he kisses her on the forehead. Yusin has a very broad vision, and he sets out on this mission to meet suppliers and take decisions that will ensure his company never faces financial trouble as long as he is in charge. On the other hand, Shiguang is also learning a lot. There is a project under her responsibility, because of which she often has to go to the market and check prices. She is learning many things and keeps taking advice from Yusin. Jokingly, Yusin sends her his CV as a boyfriend, where he writes all his details. Under experience, he mentions only one blind date that he attended, which his professor tricked him into going to, but he ran away immediately. One day, while talking, they realize that the meaning of Yusin's name is related to a forest, while Shiguang's name means sunshine. Even their names seem to be linked with each other. Whenever he sees the sun, he feels that Shiguang shines in his life in the same way. Meanwhile, Shiguang finds out that this Saturday is Yusin's grandfather's birthday, and a very grand party has been arranged. Yusin has to go to Shanghai to attend the party and will return overnight. The next morning, he plans to take his girlfriend out for breakfast. He hasn't seen Shiguang for many days and is eager to see her. Later, Shiguang also learns through her aunt that her uncle has been invited to the same party. She wonders why such a grand party is being held, but then finds out that her grandfather is going to announce his successor. That successor is Yusin's cousin, his maternal uncle Bokai's son, named Xingji. Shiguang decides to arrange a surprise for Yusun. She asks her uncle to take her along to the party. Although he was supposed to refuse, he happily agrees to take her. She is not very social and rarely attends such parties. She is there only for Yusun. She thinks that if he is so eager to see her that he is traveling overnight, then she should surprise him too because she also wants to see him just as much. At the party, she meets many people. It is very grand, and because she is Mr. Ni's daughter, everyone treats her with great respect. She also sees many of Yusun's relatives, including his 3 uncles and many guests. Everyone seems nice. But when Yusun arrives, Shiguang feels as if the world has stopped. There is no one more handsome than him there. She hides behind her uncle because she wants to surprise him rather than meet him normally. Meanwhile, she overhears some people gossiping. They say that Yusun is very talented, but unfortunately, he is only the second choice on the successor list. The first choice is the chairman's grandson, Xingji, who is currently in charge of the Shanghai headquarters. People often look down on Yusun because he is only the second choice. They also mention that he had an accident. Otherwise, he would have been one of the country's top neurosurgeons by now. Shiguang notices that Xingji toasts Yusun from a distance and then changes his glass, which is a subtle insult. This makes her feel very bad. Why do all these people think like this about Yusun? To cheer him up, she steps forward and surprises him. Seeing her, he lights up instantly, and everyone's attention turns toward them. Everyone understands that she is Yusun's girlfriend. Yusun holds her hand and takes her to introduce her to his grandfather. His grandfather is very happy to see Yusun in a relationship and says that the girl is very beautiful. He wishes that the two of them always remain happy. Meanwhile, Xingji's face clearly shows jealousy. He has always been jealous of Yusun and considers him a competitor. Then Yusun asks to be excused for a while and says he wants to take his girlfriend outside so she can get some fresh air. They head outside, but the main segment of the party is still about to begin. Soon, the chairman will stand up to announce the next heir. Now Yusun brings his girlfriend out of the party and takes her to a floor from where he shows her a very beautiful view of the city. After that, he kisses her. Shiguang becomes very nervous and he starts talking to her, saying that if she is worried about the environment inside, then he wants to tell her that it was never his goal and even today he has no dream of continuing in business. He says he does not belong to this world, so she does not need to worry. There are just 1 or 2 projects he needs to take care of. As soon as they are settled, he will leave the business world and return to the medical field. That is where he truly belongs, and that is where he will live. After that, they pick up their coats and leave the building to enjoy the city view. They are enjoying a lot. It is very cold, so Yusun hides Shiguang inside his coat and then asks her if she wouldn't mind going to his place. His apartment is very close. The view is almost the same, but the place is very warm. When she sees the huge study there, she is shocked and she also sees his childhood photos. Yusun starts reminiscing about his childhood. He tells her that this apartment was lovingly built by his mom and dad for themselves, and they even renovated it with their own hands. But then life did not give his dad the chance to stay here. He passed away. His mom went abroad, and he started living with his grandparents. When he grew up, he shifted here. But everywhere in this place, he feels memories of his dad. He tells her that he was always a brilliant student. When it was time to apply to university, he thought of applying to the business department. But at that time, someone told him the entire story about his dad and how badly his life ended. His grandparents also wished that he would become a successful surgeon. That's why he changed his decision at the last moment and applied to medical school. He had talent in that field and achieved a lot of success. He was mostly lost in his studies and was very useful to the Shang family. Even after his grandparents' death, whenever he went there during vacations, he felt very lonely and would just sit alone in a room. He says that the people she saw at the party do not belong to his world at all. There is a huge emotional distance between him and them. After finishing everything here, he will go back to the medical field. He has received a couple of very good offers, research on the human and brain interface. Either he will do research or work in the innovation field, but whatever he does, he will not leave medicine. Hearing this, Shiguang becomes very happy. On the way back, she keeps happily saying that her boyfriend, her future husband, will be a doctor, and what could be cooler than that? She says she has seen enough business tycoons in her life and honestly doesn't like them at all. She is very happy for him, and seeing him as a doctor makes her feel very proud. On the other hand, we see Grandpa. He was supposed to announce his heir, which everyone was expecting, but at the last moment, he didn't take anyone's name. After that, he called his son Bukai and his wife and scolded them badly. He said they had raised Xingji very poorly. In front of everyone, she didn't just insult Yusun but insulted their upbringing as well. The next day, Yusun and Shiguang were going on a date, but Yusun suddenly receives an urgent call from his grandpa and has to go there immediately. He apologizes to Shiguang and says he will join her later. Before leaving, he kisses her goodbye and tells her that since they are in a relationship now, they shouldn't make this a habit. Shiguang gets shy and leaves. Yusun goes to his grandpa. Grandpa feels very ashamed and tells him that he already carries the burden of Yusun's mother on his conscience. And what Xingji did yesterday embarrassed him deeply. He says he scolded her badly and gave her a warning. Then he says he really liked Yusun's girlfriend and is very happy about his life. Grandpa has many businesses, and the one Yusun is currently running. He says he wants to transfer all his shares of that business to Yusun's name. Yusun is shocked. This is huge news for him. He says he needs to ask his mom first, but Grandpa scolds him and asks who is older, his mom or him. He says the decision has already been made. He immediately calls his assistant and orders the lawyer to prepare the legal papers, saying that his shares will be transferred to Yusun. Although Yusun says he is returning to the medical field, Grandpa says he doesn't care. He says the shares will be Yusun's no matter what, he can sell them, keep them, or give them to his wife, who can take care of the business while he practices medicine. But this decision makes Uncle Bukai furious. He immediately calls Mr. Anai and tells him how his daughter appeared at the party as Yusun's girlfriend and stole all the limelight. Everyone was only looking at them, and no one paid attention to the others. He also tells him that Grandpa has decided to transfer his shares to Yusun. He challenges Mr. Anai, saying that if he is on his side, he must prove it. Mr. Anai owns 49% of the company's shares. According to the company's legal terms, unless he approves, Grandpa cannot transfer his shares to Yusun. Mr. Anai says this is now his challenge. Actually, Mr. Anai was supposed to attend the party too, but he was unwell. Here, Aunt Chen comes to take care of him, catering to his needs, and later complains to her daughter outside that the old man has become too demanding. She says she is tired of tolerating him, but since they depend on him for money, they have no choice. Her wish is that her daughter somehow becomes independent so they can leave this place. Nian has been feeling the same way for a long time. She often meets people and wants to invest some money. Her friends encourage her to invest in a market, and she decides to try investing a few $100,000. Meanwhile, people around Shigang start gossiping because they know she is Yusun's girlfriend. A contractor comes to the company, angry that Shigang is bargaining so much. He assumes that since she is the GM's girlfriend, she reached this position quickly and was brought into the company through favoritism. What they don't know is that she owns 49% of the company's shares. Yusun invites Shigang to go somewhere with him, but she already has plans with her friends, so she refuses. He then suggests taking her friends along for an outing, eating together, and everyone becomes happy. Now, a ceremony is being held to start the project that Shigang is in charge of. Interestingly, her aunt and mom arrive to surprise her. They have also decided to invest in it. Shigang's friend Jingji comments on how remarkable the two ladies are, but Shigang has kept her identity hidden and cannot reveal that they are her mom and aunt. Shigang is working like a normal employee. Her aunt deliberately creates a little mischief and asks if they can visit the plant. She asks Yusun if he can send that girl with them to guide them. Using this excuse, they take Shigang along. After the plant visit, they go for dinner together. Senior Mr. Gang is also there. While they are sitting together, Yusun receives a call, and Mr. Gang accidentally mentions that it must be about the shares being transferred to Yusun's name and that an obstacle has appeared. Hearing this, Shigang's mother immediately understands. Being familiar with the business world, she realizes that Mr. Anai has created the obstruction. Until he approves, Grandpa's shares cannot be transferred to Yusun. Shigang feels very embarrassed and tells Yusun that her dad now knows the full truth, and that Yusun is not a bad person. She explained everything. Still, she wonders why he is doing this. Yusun tells her not to worry, saying these are small things and obstacles always come in life. He tells her to stay happy and keep smiling. As she leaves, she kisses him goodbye to cheer him up. Yusun keeps looking at her happily, thinking she is very cute. Then Miss Jian, Shigang's mother, goes to meet Mr. Anai and asks him directly why he is not allowing the shares to be transferred to Yusun. Mr. Anai is angry and says that his daughter is dating someone without even informing him or asking his permission, and that he heard from others at the party whose girlfriend she is. Her mother asks if he wants to punish their daughter for this and what exactly he wants. Mr. Anai says he is a businessman, and it benefits him more if the shares are transferred to Yusun, because then Yusun won't sell the company easily. He also wants to convince Chairman Shang to include his shares so they can sell the company together to someone else. Her mother calls him selfish and says their daughter is working very hard in that company and that in the long run, the company will perform very well. But Mr. Anai says he does not want to do business in this field at all, and that's final. Then the mother makes an offer. She says that he should sell his shares to her, and she will pay him full market value. But Mr. Anai is very mean. He says that if she wants to act noble in front of their daughter and make him look selfish, then there must be a price. He says he will not sell the shares for money. He will exchange them for her shares in the Changyuan company. Hearing this, the mother feels deeply hurt. She had founded that company together with him and is its founder. He wants to separate her from the company. Of course, she is heartbroken. She immediately refuses and leaves. On the way, however, she starts thinking about her daughter's happiness. She calls Shigang and tells her everything. Shigang begs her mom not to agree. She says she knows how dear those shares are to her mother and that she built the company with her own hands. As for Yusun, she says he doesn't even want to do business anyway. She says she will come and explain everything in person. Shiguang goes to her mom, worried that because of them, she might make a wrong decision. But her mom is in a completely different mood. She tells her that she knows both Shiguang and Yusun are very capable, and she doesn't want to interfere in their lives. At first, she also became very emotional, thinking about why she should sell the shares of the company she built with her own hands. But slowly, her mindset began to change. She realized that as long as she stayed in that company, she would always be in Shiguang's dad's shadow, and she didn't want that. She said that her real capabilities mattered, And the reason Shiguang's dad is standing where he is today is because of her support. Now it's time for her to take charge of her own life. She said she had spent her entire life suppressing herself. After the divorce, people kept saying she wasn't wife material. And that's why Mr. and I cheated on her. That idea settled deep into her subconscious. And that's why she distanced herself from business. She wanted to prove to the world that she had done everything possible to save her family. And even now, she stayed away from business for that reason. But not anymore. She said she can't keep hiding her talent and capabilities forever. Now it's time to withdraw her shares from Yancheng, take a large amount of cash, and invest where she truly understands things. She believes that even though the company Shiguang works at isn't rising fast, its future is very bright. And she wants to stand up for her own life. In reality, her mom decided that for the rest of her life, she would sit in the driving seat. She sold her shares to Mr. and I and then shifted that money into Shangyun Company. Now that company had two owners, Shiguang's mom and Lin Yusan, whose grandfather had transferred all the shares to him. That day was very busy. When they were leaving, Shiguang was turning off the lights when Yusan turned around and kissed her. He asked why she was going out with her friends and said he wished she had spent time with him instead so they could have dinner together. She apologized and said she already had a long-standing plan with her friends. He replied that if she couldn't skip it, at least she could be late. Later, she was having dinner with her friends at the hostel. They were gossiping, saying they heard Lin Yusen had received shares from his grandfather and that now he wasn't just the GM but the real boss, the actual owner of the company. One of her friends said, "Wow, I never imagined my best friend's boyfriend would be a bossy CEO." At that moment, Shiguang felt there was no need to hide the truth anymore. She said they must have also heard that half the shares were bought by Miss Jiang. When they said yes, she revealed that Miss Jiang was her mom. That meant she was the other heir. Her friends were completely shocked. They had never imagined that the girl sitting with them was actually half-owner of the company. The next day, Shiguang spent time with Yusenator. His maid had prepared a very nice meal. Yusen said they would enjoy hot pot at home because Shiguang liked healthy food. Then they went out to look for some cats, but she couldn't find any. The next day, she was supposed to go to Shanghai with Yu Senior. They planned to enjoy the whole day together, and in the evening, Yusen had academic meetings with his professors. So she planned to hang out with her friend Feng during that time. But this plan got exposed when her friend Si Liang found out. She said it was her birthday the next day and she was throwing a party. She begged Shiguang to come. Since Shiguang was already going to Shanghai, she agreed. Si Liang also mentioned that Rong wouldn't be coming because she was very busy. Shiguang couldn't easily say no, so she said yes. The plan was that by the time Yusen finished his work, she would also be free, and they would go back and rest. At the same time, we see Jiangshu. Si Liang's boyfriend calls him and invites him to the birthday party. But he declines because it's also Chris's birthday, and he had already promised him. Then we see a flashback. Near the end of graduation, Si Liang once got very drunk and confessed in front of Shiguang that she also had a crush on Jiangshu. She said, "Who wouldn't? He looks good and is smart. But I wasn't as bold as you to go and confess directly." She said she had two competitors, Shiguang and Rong. Rong was very clever. She never directly confessed because Jiangshu's family situation wasn't good. His father had passed away, his mother was often sick, and he had to support his younger brother too. So Rong was waiting for the right time when he became stable to build a relationship. This showed that Rong was always opportunistic, while Shiguang was simple and straightforward. Whatever was in her heart came to her lips. Because of this, she often became the center of gossip. Finally, she arrives at the party. Yusan drops her off, and they exchange a goodbye kiss. She sits with her friends for dinner while Yusan goes to meet his professor, who has a very impressive offer for him. During this meeting, they also discuss his personal life. And this was the same professor who had once even invited him on a blind date, secretly. That time, Yusan had run away from there. While recalling this, he says that when his girlfriend found out about it, she felt very bad. That professor was actually very close to him, almost like family. The professor then says, "All right, then bring your girlfriend someday. I'll explain everything to her, that you've always been single, and whatever mistake happened, it was only mine." The professor himself was very romantic. Actually, he had fallen in love with a Chinese professor. Because of her, he even learned Chinese and later followed her all the way to China. Meanwhile, we are shown that Jiangshu and his friends had also finished dinner by that time. They start making plans whether to go to a club or watch a movie. Just then, Jiangshu gets a call from his friend. He tells him, "You're already free after dinner, right? We're all planning to go to the club. I'll send you the location. You should come too. And yes, Shiguang is also here." After hearing this, Jiangshu's mood immediately lifts. But at that moment, he was walking alongside Chris. Chris asks him, "Do you really like that girl we saw at Changbai Mountain? You love her a lot, don't you?" This time, he says yes. Chris tells him, "You're very clever. Are you saying this just to let me down? Because my feelings for you are very obvious. Even our colleagues know about them. You must have realized too. This is a good excuse to reject me." But he tells her, "No, this is the truth." Then Chris says, "All right, then let me tell you something. You thought that girl was with her boyfriend, but he's not her boyfriend. He's just pursuing her and she's single. If you want, you can still try. Maybe you'll win. But let me warn you, Dr. Lin will be very tough competition. Hearing this, all those old feelings awaken in Jiangshu's heart. He feels like going and trying once again to win his love back. He runs from there, catches a taxi, and makes it race through the streets. Meanwhile, Shigang was sitting there, continuously texting Yusun. Her friends could clearly see how madly in love she had become. After a while, Rong also arrives. She was very late, but she looked like she was doing really well these days. Her salary was good, and she also got great bonuses. Of course, she was working at a very big company. All the other friends were feeling jealous and wishing that someday they could also get a job in such a company. But Rong started taunting them again. She hinted toward Shigang, saying that she was progressing only because she was with the right boss. Actually, her boss was none other than Lin Yusun's cousin, Shang Ji, who was already known as a very low and insulting person. Rong tried to mock Shigang there as well, saying that Sheng & Company had nothing to do with her company anymore, and that Mr. Chairman had already withdrawn his shares. She added, "Who knows what will happen to you people now?" But Shigang replied, "Not everyone can go into real estate, right? Just because that business is booming doesn't mean everyone should shift there. We should also do something new. And yes, I'm very good at taking challenges." Just then, Jiangshu arrived there, running. Everyone was shocked to see him, wondering how he suddenly made this plan. His eyes kept following Shigang again and again. Sometimes, he felt like standing up right then and confessing his feelings in front of everyone. But he held himself back. Meanwhile, his friends were gossiping. They said, "Today we saw her boyfriend. He dropped her off and the two of them even kissed. I just looked away and ran." Hearing this, Jiangshu realizes that despite all his rushing, he had arrived too late. After that, he starts drinking a lot. Then he begins singing a song. That song had always been Shigang's favorite, and all her friends knew it. She had once even said in the hostel that if a boy ever sang this song under her balcony with true feelings, she would probably say yes to him. Now Shigang understands that there is definitely something in his heart, because he is singing that very song with tears in his eyes. She immediately tries to leave, says, "Excuse me," and walks away, although she knew that Yusun still wasn't free. Still, she steps outside and waits for the elevator. Jushu comes and stands there too. He tells her that on New Year's night, she pretended that Yusun was her boyfriend. She replies that he wasn't back then, but now he is. None of that matters anymore. Everything between us is over. But he asks her, "Then why did you make a false promise to me? It's not completely over. There are still things pending." Shigang tells him that she had first confirmed he was single, so she proposed to him. He rejected her. End of story. People were gossiping about her, and she had even messaged him to clear things up. Did he receive that message? He says yes, he did. She says then that's it. This is where it ends. Stop following me. I'm leaving. But something takes over Jiangshu's mind. He loses control. He runs down the stairs, chasing after her. Just as she is about to get into a taxi, he grabs her hand and pulls her back. He confesses that he has always loved her, but he thought he wasn't capable enough or suitable for her. Then rumors about her spread, and he misunderstood her. Later, he realized his mistake. He says he wanted her to work in Shanghai, but after graduation, she suddenly disappeared. When she returned, she had a boyfriend, and that too, a fake one. He even went to Jiango's house looking for her, getting drenched in the rain. He wanted to tell her what was in his heart. He wanted her back. But Chigang tells him that everything is already over. When people gossiped about her, he believed them. He never tried to understand her. He never once came to her to clear things up. Whatever people said about her, he believed it. And yes, she admits she lied. Yusun was not her boyfriend at that time. But even if she had gotten a chance back then, her choice would always have been Yusun. Maybe life kept her single all this time because he was meant to be her partner. He motivates her and gives her strength. She rejects him very harshly and leaves. All of their friends were standing behind and had witnessed the entire scene. This was the moment when Jushu, who was once their hero, looked like a complete zero, totally failed. And seeing him like that, Rong also walks away because of course she was selfish. Now Shigang goes outside and waits for Yusun. When he appears in front of her, she runs and hugs him tightly. He asks if something happened at the party, because she looks upset. But before she can answer, she turns around and sees both of their professors standing there, staring at them. She becomes very embarrassed, greets them, and they all leave from there. Now they have reached Suzhou. Guang and Yusun were standing outside the office, waiting for Auntie. During that time, Guang tells him a lot about her aunt and uncle, how they built their business together and how successful they are today. She explains that officially, on paper, her uncle is always the boss, but in reality, both at home and in the office, it's her aunt who runs everything. Just then, her aunt arrives. Actually, there was a very big project in Suzhou, and both her aunt's company and Yusun's company were going to work together on it and submit a bidding proposal. Her aunt's company was related to architectural design, and they planned to combine it with PV designs to create an amazing proposal. After discussing everything in the meeting, they were sitting with Mr. Jiang, who praised Guang a lot, saying that she is a very quick learner and that he is proud to be her mentor. He even said he wouldn't retire until she had learned everything. After that, they all went with her aunt and some colleagues to visit the site. Coincidentally, Xingji was also there with his assistant Rong and others. They were working for the same contract too. Xingji was a very arrogant person. When he saw Yusun and Shi Guang's aunt, he looked down on them and thought there was no way small companies like theirs could compete with his big company. The contract was obviously going to be his. He went over to Yusun, pretending to greet him, but started mocking him instead. He said things like, "So now you're serving your girlfriend's aunt?" He also told Shi Guang that these days Yusun was just resting while she had become in charge of big company projects. There were many people around, and Xingji had a habit of insulting others publicly. But this time, Shi Guang didn't stay quiet. She replied that at least they had achieved things through their own efforts. She said that even though her dad owns a big company, she was building her reputation on her own. And Yusun had done the same. He had made a name for himself as a respected surgeon. She added that some people only act arrogant because they sit on positions given by their parents' money. After that, Xingji was so humiliated that he didn't even say goodbye and left. Later, he told Rong to find some information about Shi Guang, saying he couldn't tolerate this insult. On the other side, at the bank, Zhuang Shu found out about some new rumors. People were spreading baseless gossip about the accident on Changbai Mountain. They were saying that Kevin and Zhuang Shu had fought over Chris, and during that fight, Kevin fell down the mountain and got injured. These rumors even reached his boss, who warned him that the situation was getting out of control and that both his and Chris's reputations were being damaged. In reality, these were all people who were jealous of Zhuang Shu. He had achieved a lot on his own, and they wanted to drag him down. Chris was really upset, thinking that these rumors would follow her forever. She wondered what people must be thinking about her, that she was the kind of girl who made two men fight over her. Her friend tried to comfort her by saying that at least people thought she was charming, not that she was throwing herself at men. Hearing this, Zhuang Shu suddenly remembered how people used to say the same things about Shi Guang when she had confessed to him, that she was throwing herself at him. Now that he was experiencing it himself, he finally understood how hard it must have been for her to endure those baseless rumors for 4 years. She had suffered silently, smiling through everything, trying to explain herself, but no one ever stood up for her. He should have been the one to support her. He wanted to message Shi Guang, but he didn't have the courage. Instead, he went to Zhang Rui and told him how ashamed he felt. He asked him to apologize to Shi Guang on his behalf. Later, Zhang Rui called Shi Guang and told her how guilty Zhuang Shu felt. He said that if her first love was still alive in her heart, he didn't want her to live her life full of regrets. She should think carefully about which side she wanted to choose. Just then, Yusun stepped out of his car in front of her. Shi Guang said that Zhuang Shu was like a distant light in her life, sometimes on, sometimes off. But Yusun came into her life like sunshine. She didn't need to think twice. She was happy with him, truly happy and content. After that, they went grocery shopping together. They even picked lobsters that were fighting each other, joking that they would decorate their table with them. Shi Guang sent Yusun aside for a moment and bought red beans for him. They sat together, ate, and when they were about to leave, she made an excuse to send him to the study room. There, she had replaced his yellow beans with red beans so that he wouldn't get bored while practicing in the future. As soon as he sees her, Yusun runs toward her and hugs her tightly. Then he asks, "Is it really so urgent today? Can't you postpone your return?" She replies, "Why not?" And that night, she ends up staying at Yusun's place. From the next day onward, Yusun is extremely happy. For 3 whole days, he treats the entire office to breakfast, everything made from red beans. Shi Guang feels quite shy and tells him, "Okay, that's enough now. You've done too much." After that, they start going to Nanjing. At her aunt's office, they are collaborating on the same project, so they often have to visit that place. But thanks to this, they also get to spend a lot of time together and enjoy it. Now it's the weekend, and finally they can rest. Shi Guang says, "Today, I don't want to go out. I just want to relax at home and study a bit with you." But while studying, she quickly gets tired and pretends to faint. Her doctor boyfriend immediately gives her CPR and says, she complains, "You're taking advantage of me." He replies, "I'm just experimenting on you. It's research. There's a theory that this helps a person feel better when they faint." That's how he keeps flirting with Shi Guang. During their playful conversation, Shi Guang tells him, "Our company's name is Shengen, which is a mix of your grandfather's family name and my dad's family name. But I want to give it a new name, Guangyu, made from my name and yours." And truly, the name perfectly fits their industry. It means a land that absorbs sunlight, and their work is related to solar panels. Just then, Shi Guang receives a call from her grandmother. She says, "Your grandfather has been feeling dizzy for 2 days, but he refuses to go to the hospital. What should I do?" Shi Guang replies, "Tomorrow is Sunday. I'll come and check on him myself. If needed, I'll force him to go to the hospital." Yusun suggests, "If your grandfather doesn't want to go to the hospital, why not take the doctor to him? That way, Yusun can also meet her grandparents." The next morning, her grandparents are already sitting outside, waiting excitedly. Grandma is especially curious about what Shi Guang's boyfriend looks like. When they finally arrive, and she sees Yusun with Shi Guang, she can't stop smiling. She's very happy, saying they look like a perfect couple. She finds him very handsome. They take Grandpa inside. He is still feeling dizzy, so Yusun examines him carefully and immediately realizes that the ear crystals are out of place. He explains that it can be corrected through specific exercises, but after that, he needs plenty of rest. If it keeps happening, he must go to the hospital. He helps him with some exercises and Grandpa starts feeling better. Her grandparents become even more impressed. They bring out some old medical reports and ask Yusun to suggest what they should do. He explains how they can control their condition through diet. Since they are not educated, seeing him work so sincerely and help them makes them very happy. Grandma even praises her future son-in-law a lot in front of her friends. Later, they all cook together. They use a wooden stove and Shurguang and Yusun help Grandma. Yusun enjoys it very much. When they come out from behind the stove, they look so messy that they start laughing at each other for a long time. Then it's time to eat. All the vegetables and fruits are fresh, and after eating, Yusun feels very refreshed. Shortly after, some of the grandparents' friends arrive with their medical reports, asking Yusun to check them too. Yusun is very happy because this helps him gain more favor with her grandparents. But suddenly, people outside start shouting. When they go out, they find a group of people accusing Mr. Ni of taking money from them. They demand that he return it with interest. Some people mock them, saying, "Why would Ni take money from people like you?" But they have documents as proof. It turns out that Chen Ant's father had taken the loan, but Mr. Ni's name was written as the guarantor. The papers also said that the money was invested in Mr. Ni's company with 2% interest. The family tells them to go away and ask Chen. But her father has disappeared and no one knows where he is. Everyone says, everyone knows that Chen's daughter lives with Mr. Ni, so we'll take the money from her. At this point, Yusun steps forward, pulls his girlfriend aside, and firmly warns them, saying he will call the police. In the end, they get scared and step back. They have already called Mr. Ni, and he will arrive soon. But after witnessing such a huge drama, poor Shurguang feels extremely tired and says, "When will my dad ever start behaving properly?" Mr. Ni reaching his ancestral village home. Normally, he wouldn't care at all about such things. But this time, people had gathered outside his house creating a ruckus, and he was about to get scolded badly by his mother. At the same time, we are shown Aunt Chen. Her father comes and sits beside her, and we learn that she had given him some savings to keep. She couldn't keep the money at home, otherwise Mr. Ni would think she was secretly stealing and saving money, so she had hidden it. Unfortunately, her father lost all that money in gambling. Later, he borrowed money from the villagers again and repaid them, and all that money was invested somewhere by his daughter Nian. When Mr. Ni finds out about all this, he immediately calls Aunt Chen. Earlier, she had been shouting a lot, but now she suddenly starts speaking in a very innocent, childlike voice. However, it seems this time none of it is going to affect Mr. Ni. His health had already been deteriorating for some time, but because of his busy routine, he hadn't gone for a checkup. Now his biggest worry was his reputation. In this area, a few million meant nothing to him, but he didn't want the case to go to the police. If the police got involved, reporters would surely blow it out of proportion. On top of that, the creditor was going around telling everyone that he was Mr. Ni's father-in-law. That would completely ruin his reputation. So Mr. Ni says he will settle the matter privately. But just then, his mother starts shouting and says that tomorrow someone else will show up asking for money in his name. How long will this keep going? Will you keep paying everyone's debts forever? No, we must call the police. Otherwise these people will keep creating a scene outside our house. The argument escalates so much that while listening to his mother's scolding, Mr. Ni starts feeling dizzy and faints. Everyone rushes him to the hospital. While unconscious, he undergoes a CT scan. The reports show that it's not immediately life-threatening, but there is a tumor in his brain, very close to his ear. To determine its exact location and how dangerous it is, an MRI is urgently needed. His mother becomes extremely worried. No matter how old her son is, to her he is still like a child. Hearing about the tumor terrifies her. But Yusun reassures her and says the operation will be successful, asking her not to worry. After a while, Mr. Ni regained consciousness. As soon as he understands the situation, he starts asserting his authority, complaining about being brought to a small public hospital and lying in a ward. He demands to be taken to a private hospital immediately, saying he has his own medical panel and will consult his own specialists. Forget taking Yusun's advice, he would get irritated even hearing his name. He insists on hiring the best surgeon in the country. Meanwhile, Nian goes to check on the investment she made. She discovers that the so-called artists were actually frauds pretending to be rich, and all her money has been looted. When she tells Aunt Chen this, the ground slips from under her feet. She sits down and starts crying loudly. But then her father says that a few million means nothing to Mr. Ni. He has already paid all the debts, so it's no big deal for him. And the money can be recovered again. He reminds her that she knows Mr. Ni's weakness, sweet talk, acting innocent, pretending she knew nothing, and he will be back under her control. Soon after, she finds out that Mr. Ni is in the hospital. She calls him, but he doesn't answer her calls. Mr. Ni is informed that although the tumor is not very large, its location is extremely critical, very close to the ear. Even if it is removed, his hearing may be affected and might never fully return to normal. A list of surgeons is prepared, and among them is Dr. Lin. However, the doctor mentions that Dr. Lin hasn't performed surgery for a long time and wonders if he has gone abroad. Just then, Xiang interrupts and says that Dr. Lin cannot perform the surgery. When asked how she knows, she reveals that Dr. Lin is actually Yusun. His hand was damaged in an accident. Mr. Anai knows very well what that accident was. He should feel guilty about Yuzin's loss, but instead he keeps a completely blank expression, as if it doesn't matter to him at all. Meanwhile, Aunt Qian tries to contact Mr. Anai, but since he doesn't take her calls, she speaks to his assistant. The assistant tells her that Mr. Anai has ordered that no more expenses will be covered for that villa. She has to handle everything herself now. He has completely cut her off. Hearing that she has been abandoned, Aunt Qian becomes furious. She tells her daughter to go to the police station and file a report. Maybe the fraudsters will be caught and they can get their money back. After all, they don't owe Mr. Anai even a single cent, and that money is a large amount that could be useful to them. She doesn't think about how this could severely damage Mr. Ni's reputation. The next day, when Shiguang goes to the hospital to see her father, she learns that he has called a doctor from abroad, and that doctor is none other than Professor Lin, Yuzin's mentor. Yuzin reassures Grandma, saying he will plan the surgery together with the doctor, and that he has a lot of experience with such procedures. Her son will be absolutely fine. Shiguang goes inside to see her father. He is already angry and scolding someone on the phone. As soon as she arrives, he starts accusing her, saying people are calling him repeatedly and asking why she filed a police report. He says that even if a few million were lost, what does it matter? All his wealth would eventually go to her anyway. Because of a few million, she has ruined his reputation. He assumes that Shiguang filed the police report. Shiguang snaps back angrily, and Grandma also says they don't care about such things. They were only worried about his health. They clarify that they did not file any police report. Shiguang argues fiercely with her father, saying why he always blames her first. She says she wouldn't even get that money back, so why would she care about a few million? The person who was supposed to get the money didn't file the report, so why accuse her? He never thinks about Nian or Aunt Qian. She brings up everything from the past, saying she cared about his reputation, which is why she never told her mother or grandmother about Yuzin's accident or about Nian using her name to summon Yuzin. She says she endured so much guilt, but he never felt guilty. He didn't allow the transfer of shares in Yuzin's name, and then treated him so badly that he wouldn't even listen to his advice. She talks about how humiliated she felt. He claims she is his only daughter, yet he always spent his time with Aunt Qian and Yen. When she was in university, how many times did he visit her? When she lived in Suzhou, how many times did he come to see her? At this point, Mr. Ni's expression shows that he has realized everything. He looks deeply ashamed. Grandma also scolds him harshly. Just then, Yuzin comes in and hugs Shiguang. She is extremely upset. Her mother had also come to see Mr. Anai, but at this moment, no one speaks to him and they all quietly leave. Grandma is so ashamed that she can't even meet their eyes and leaves as well. Now Mr. Anai truly realizes how discriminatory his behavior was, how he doubted his own family instead of the wrong people, and how badly he treated Shiguang and her mother. He feels ashamed and types an apology message. That night, Yuzin stays over because it's very late, and he is at Shiguang's mother's house. Her mother overhears their conversation and feels very happy seeing how strong her daughter's bond has become with her future son-in-law. When Shiguang sees her father's apology message, her heart feels heavy again. She says she feels he is truly ashamed, but she can't say it's okay so easily. Yuzin tells her that everything she is going through, he has gone through as well. Years ago, when he found out that his maternal grandfather was the reason his father was wrongly punished and eventually died, he too became angry and resentful. His grandfather sent him an apology message, but it meant nothing to him at the time. He couldn't forgive him. Around those days, his grandfather also had surgery. Yuzin was only 5 years old. He didn't feel like going inside, but he sat outside the hospital all night, caring for him. Hearing this, Shiguang realizes how much Yuzin has endured alone. She says he was so young and yet went through so much. He hugs her to cheer her up and jokes that even at 5 years old, he was already 6 feet tall. The story then fast forwards. Mr. Ni's surgery is completed successfully. Although his hearing is slightly affected, it is improving through rehabilitation. He is still in the hospital and will be discharged soon. At the same time, the bidding day arrives. Ant's company is bidding for a building project, and Shiguang and Yuzin have worked on this project together, making it very important for them as well. When Mr. Anai learns that Ant's company is also competing for this major building, he says she is going to lose and that she wasted her time and effort. Shiguang challenges him, but he explains that from his business acumen, the Shang Group will definitely win because this project is extremely important to them. They even brought in an overseas architect, and for Shang Ji, this is his last chance to become the successor. His grandfather made it a condition. Finally, the bidding day arrives. Ant is very nervous. While Shang Ji goes confidently with his entire team, Shiguang reassures Ant, saying she might actually win. Their proposal is very innovative, using solar energy and creating an environmentally friendly, green design. During the bidding, phones are kept outside and no one can contact anyone. Yuzin and Shiguang are free during this time, so Yuzin takes her somewhere. He shows her some villas that are for sale. She asks why he is investing in such a remote area. He says it's not an investment, he wants to buy a home for them. He carefully chose the location. It is very beautiful, with a lake view in front, and located between Shanghai and Suzhou. It would take both of them only 20 minutes to commute to work. Yuzin has decided to do his research work in Shanghai, while Shiguang is currently handling the Suzhou company. The salesman mistakes them for a newlywed couple, and Shiguang feels shy. After choosing the villa, they return and see Shang-Ji coming out with a dark expression. As he leaves, he threatens Yusun, saying he will complain to his grandfather and accuse him of ruining their company by collaborating with outsiders. This is the moment they realize that Ant's company has won the bid. She is overjoyed and almost feels like dancing. She says this success is because of the solar energy concept, and without their collaboration, her design would never have been approved. Meanwhile, Shang-Ji's grandfather also finds out. His son Bukai rushes to him excitedly, but the grandfather scolds him and tells him not to complain about Yusun. Yusun has his own company and provides services to whoever hires him. This failure is their own incompetence and they must accept it. After this, the chairman becomes deeply troubled, realizing that the talent Yusun's father had is absent in his own family. He wonders who he can hand over the business to, as no one seems capable enough. When Mr. Ni learns that the Shang group has lost the bid and Ant has won, he feels happy deep down. He feels proud of his daughter, knowing how much effort she put into this bid. For the first time, he realizes how much Shiguang has grown. He proudly says, "See, that's my daughter," and sends her a congratulatory message, calling this her first victory in the business world. Mr. Ni had stopped giving Aunt Qian any living expenses. However, she was still living in the villa that he had provided. Now Aunt Qian receives a call from the assistant, who informs her that Mr. Ni is going to sell the house very soon, so she should start looking for another place to live. But Aunt Qian had already decided that she would stubbornly stick to that house. When a potential buyer comes to inspect the villa, she starts putting on an act, claiming that someone had died in that house at a young age and that the place is unlucky. Hearing this, the buyer gets scared and immediately backs out of the deal. However, the assistant tells her clearly that these small tricks will not work and that eventually she will have to leave anyway. This marks the end of Aunt Qian. She tells her daughter that she can't keep acting forever and that they should pack up and leave. She says they have already stayed there long enough and lived off someone else's money for too long, and that in itself is more than enough. But her daughter Nian gets extremely angry with her mother. She says that if she hadn't followed her all this time, she would be married by now and would have had a stable job. She accuses her mother of making her greedy as well and ruining her future. She cries out that now no one will want to marry her and no one will give her a job, because she has been completely disgraced in their social circle. Blaming her mother, she storms off. And with that, Aunt Qian's story truly comes to an end. After that, we are shown Rome. She has also decided that since her boss is no longer successful, she will change her path as well. She had always followed successful people. She calls Xingji a failure and believes that sooner or later he is bound to sink. She says she has already found a place in another company and that she is leaving Shanghai forever because she no longer feels attached to the city. Xinyang asks her whether she has met Jua Shu to say goodbye. Rong replies that they had already said goodbye to each other a long time ago. Eventually, through friends, Xing comes to know about this. Those friends reminisce about how close they all were during university days and how they believed their bond would last forever. But now, even while living in the same city, they have become strangers. That closeness from university life is long gone. Later, Yusun meets Shigong's family at a dinner. Everyone is very happy, and Yusun announces that the two of them have decided to buy a villa together. At first, the family wonders if they are planning to get married. Yusun says that he really wants to, but he is willing to wait a little longer because he knows Shigang has a future ahead of her. She has just started her business and will go very far. Once she becomes stable in a year or so, they will get married soon. On the other hand, Mr. Chairman comes to visit Yusun at his plant. He tells him that he is very happy for him and that he does not blame him for anything he did. He says that if Xingji had come to Yusun first for services, Yusun would have helped him too, but Xingji never came. The chairman admits that he had been quite confused about his successor. Although he wanted Yusun to take over, Yusun had never chosen this field for himself. Yusun explains that he is leaving all of this behind and going into the research field, as that is where his true passion lies. Before leaving, he gives his grandfather a piece of advice. He suggests that instead of looking elsewhere, his granddaughter Xingshu, Yusun's cousin, has the most potential and talent for business. Although she is still completing her graduation, she is fully capable of running the business in the future. The grandfather is very pleased with this suggestion. Time moves forward. Shigang becomes extremely busy with her business and successfully wins a major contract through bidding. This becomes the benchmark she needed to achieve, after which her journey of success truly begins. Finally, the day arrives when Yusun spends his last day at the company before leaving for his research work, while Shigang takes over the business. Before the inauguration, she shows him her very first completed project, a dream garden built near their plant. The garden is incredibly beautiful. She takes Yusun there first and even names it in a way that reflects their story. Both of them feel emotional, knowing they will no longer see each other at the office every day. Their professional paths are about to become different. Shigang rests her head on Yusun's shoulder and falls asleep. Yusun reminisces about their memories, their first meeting, their chaotic encounters, the accident where she fell from a building, and how their love story gradually grew. These memories are very precious to him. He tells her that although he is not pressuring her to get married immediately, he still wants to propose today. And with that, he proposes to her. The story then fast-forwards 2 years. Finally, at the same dream garden, Shurgang arrives as a bride, and Yusun welcomes her. They are now a married couple. They live in their villa, spend weekends together, and meet every evening. Their professional lives are very different, but their bond grows stronger day by day. They cherish each other, and nothing matters more to them than that. Years pass, and now 10 years have gone by. Shurgang is shown as a successful businesswoman who has established herself on her own, without relying on her father. Not only in China, but clients from all over the world work with her. At the same time, Yusun is shown achieving great success in his research, as his clinical trial finally succeeds. This is a huge achievement for him. He rushes to Shurgang to share the good news, and she immediately understands that his long-term efforts have paid off. She also shows him her expanded plant, as her business has grown tremendously and her clients are spread everywhere. Later, Shurgang goes on a business trip to the Middle East. Yusun is extremely happy because she has achieved something big, securing major clients there for her solar panels, which even makes the news. He keeps replaying the news again and again, feeling proud of his wife. Then he goes straight to the kindergarten to pick up their young daughter. She is very cute. Father and daughter are both very excited, as they are going to pick up her mother from the airport after such a huge success. He even decorates his daughter with many hairpins, believing that the more hairpins she wears, the more points he will earn with his wife. Shurgang is overjoyed to see them at the airport. Yusun's cousin Shengshi is also there, who is now the highest authority in the Shingon group. She loves her niece very much. The family bond between them all looks incredibly strong. At the airport, as they walk away happily, Juangshu and Chris see them from afar. For a moment it looks like Juangshu and Chris might be a couple, but later it is revealed that Juangshu is still single, while Chris has her own life and partner. Chris asks whether he ever apologized to Shurgang personally. Juangshu replies that he did not, believing that not disturbing her anymore is the best apology he can give. He watches her walk away and quietly moves on with his own life. Yusun fully supports his wife and helps a lot in taking care of their daughter, especially since his work hours are shorter, while Shurgang has her own business and frequently travels. Because of this, their daughter is more attached to Yusun, who also puts her to sleep every night. The next day, the family has breakfast together. Their cute daughter is there, and their life feels absolutely perfect. They feel as if the sunshine in their lives is at its peak, and just like that, they will also watch the sunset of their lives together. And this is how a remarkable love comes to a happy ending. Thanks for watching, everyone.